And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. I panicked. I thought I had my first one before I even started the show, Lonzo.
No, it was on the fader, wasn't pushed up enough.
Aha.
I'm going to blame the ghosts of Odyssey.
First time ever I wasn't loud enough. That's not a thing that happens usually.
Although my hand's usually on the fader, so I can get that first thing and then take it up. The look on your face, though, was a lot of fun.
A little bit. I'm like, one already? You had one yesterday. I thought I blew Atlanta Falcons the lead last week. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Lonzo and I keep track of the number of times that one of us starts talking before we turn our microphone on. And ordinarily we do it. We just miss the button or think we pushed it, but we didn't push it hard enough, whatever. And we keep track. And whoever at the end of the week loses has to pay the other person $500. That's how the game works. That's not true. We work in radio. Last week, Lonzo, I think, had 4 before I did 1. And then I did 3 on Friday and gave the lead back, and we ended up square. I thought I blew it on Wednesday morning there. Because I think we're at zeros right now. I think we're having a good week so far.
Well, if I was aware of possibly having 1 or 2 and you said 0, I'm probably going to go with you. Whatever you say.
I don't know. I'm dumb. I forgot.
I believe I have 1. I'm going to go that I have 1. I want to self-report.
I accept that. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be with you. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo at the helm today. Going to be a busy day, y'all. Going to be a very busy day on the radio broadcast as we have got, obviously, this baseball situation. Major League Baseball has canceled the first 2 regular season series after players rejected the league's proposal yesterday. I got sound from Rob Manfred coming up for you later on in the radio broadcast. I got sound from Jeff Passan. I got sound from Tim Kirkshin coming up for you later on in the show to get a little bit more in detail about exactly what went wrong in these negotiations. There was a lot of talk that we might get a deal done yesterday. Then the players came out after the deal was unanimously rejected by the players. The players said, no. There was never any progress made. The league tried to spin it as progress was made to make us look like the bad guys here, but there was never any progress that was made, and they put it squarely at the feet of Rob Manfred and MLB. So we're going to get into that later on in the show. College basketball was good last night. Wisconsin, Purdue, stayed up and watched that one, and it came down to the final 2 seconds of the game. Wisconsin ends up snagging at least a share of the Big Ten championship. They are through to March no matter what happens at this point. That's a good team. Purdue is probably as well. Lonzo, the Big Ten right now, Joe Lunardi has them projected at having 9 teams in the March tournament.
Yeah, I saw the Ohio State loss last night. I didn't see the game, but I saw they lost. They were ranked. I don't know if they still will be.
They might bottom out around 24, 23. We'll see. But they're still a tournament team more than likely. We're going to talk NCAA tournament stuff later on in the show. Coming up at 2:20, because I, with everything going on with MLB yesterday, forgot. I know Lonzo's disappointed because he hoped that I had forgot. We forgot to do faces and heels yesterday. So we do faces and heels today at 2:20. What happened, Lonzo? What had happened was we got so caught up in the Finnish skier conversation that I just skipped on right past my favorite segment of the week.
Well, I'm hoping for breaking news right around that time.
He may make some breaking news right around that point in time. We'll find out. We got to get into some college football. Clemson starting their spring practices today. So we're going to start looking ahead at the 2022 college football season. That's coming up just around the corner. And plenty more. All that being said, I don't want to Texter said, did you just have Batman Tourette's?
You did say Batman. I didn't want to call it out.
I said Batman?
You did.
Well, Lonzo and I are going to see Batman tomorrow, so I mean, it's in the
You,
noggin.
you jumbled some words together,
Yeah?
and it said Batman, and I just yeah.
Weird.
You can go back and listen right at the
I
beginning.
believe it.
So yeah, it definitely happened, and I enjoyed it immensely. But I didn't want to, I didn't want to mention it. I just wanted to let it be.
I missed that. I skipped right over it. We were having a conversation earlier with Captain America Chris Evans down the hall about how I talk too fast sometimes. When I get excited, I talk fast, right? Y'all, it is estimated. And I actually would love to figure out a way to count that doesn't take me forever. But it's estimated, Lonzo, that we say anywhere between 90 and 100,000 words on the air combined during any 3-hour sports talk radio broadcast, which I think is a little high, right?
Does that include guests and callers and all that kind of thing? So it's a combination of everybody
right.
that's okay.
It's estimated that there's about 100,000 words said, 90 to 100,000 words said in a 3-hour show. I would say that I probably, if it is 100,000, I probably say 75,000 of them. Lonzo says 20,000 of them. And then we've got, 5,000 sprinkled in between sound bites and interviews and whatnot. I don't think it's 100,000. I think that's overshooting. But the point is, we got to say a lot, and we only got limited time. So I talk fast, and sometimes words bleed together, like boat.
I'm curious, in certain areas of the country where they talk faster, and certain areas of the country where they talk slower, does it vary as far as amount that they believe people say?
Good question. Because I promise y'all down in Mississippi, now when they talk Ole Miss running Rebel football down in Oxford, Mississippi, I promise you, they ain't getting to 100,000 words down there about Lane's boys. You know what I'm saying? They got that sweet and slow as molasses talk down there in Oxford, Mississippi. So they do like 86 words in 3 hours, y'all.
The last minute you've done that, and I just imagining having to endure that every day, man, that would be rough.
I did. I worked with a guy like that. I worked with a guy.
Did you try to speed him up or,
yeah. Well, so I worked with a guy by the name of Coach Max Howell a number of years ago. Max was an assistant coach at Florida State for a number of years who got into radio, and he was in his he had to be in his 70s when I worked with him, and that was 20 years ago. 12 years ago. So he's got to be in his 80s now. And the older he got, the slower Max Howell would talk about college football. See, back in my days in Tallahassee, back under Coach Bowden, when we'd run that drill, we told them boys, y'all got to be men. And that's how we did it in Tallahassee. And that was a whole show, 3 hours of that.
Back when I started in radio, we over on WRD, we had the AMs were split. Now the AMs are here for ESPN, but they were split. So certain parts of the day, the Spartanburg station would do their own thing. And I would have to put some commercials together for those guys. And they would turn a 30-second into a 60-second just by going, listen to what I'm going to tell you about right now. And I'd just be like, ugh.
Yeah, some of them old deep Southern boys. Yeah, I did a show in Mobile, Alabama for a little while. I had a station in Mobile that was part of a network I did. And you get those guys. The only thing worse than a sports talk radio show who talks like that, Lonzo, is a caller who calls in to talk with you. Hey, Rob, first time, long time. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Nick Saban and the way that he recruits them players there at the University of Alabama. And then they want to give you the life story. My family's been going to Alabama since 1714. And, we love the Crimson Tide. And then they get offended if you cut them off. Yeah. It's rough.
My family has learned to not hesitate when they talk to me because I'm so used to trying to jump in there when there's hesitation that if there's any pause in your conversation, I'm in there. I just can't help it.
Conversations are short and I have a lot to say. about stuff like this.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
Texter said, Rob, people here understand you better when you use your fake accent. You have to draw it out. Welcome to the lunch breakdown. The 3 things you got to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. I can't even do it when I slow down. Whoever you spend your lunch break with, this will be the scuttlebutt around the lunch table. These are the things you need to know before you go start talking sports on your lunch break. And that's the end of the segment because I'm running. No.
I was going to say, I made this bed pretty long, but you keep going, you're going to out-talk it.
Item number 1 on the lunch breakdown. Sometimes I do stuff on the LBD that is not necessarily like top tier news, but because I enjoy it. And this is one of those stories. Lonzo, the Washington Commanders. Yes, it's real. No, they are not a team that loses to the Harlem Globetrotters 3 times a week on tour. The Washington Commanders traded for Alex Smith back in 2018. Of course, his leg was destroyed. And then they selected Dwayne Haskins with their first-round pick in 2019. He was released before the end of the following season. Alex Smith came back and started on one wheel. In 2021, Ryan Fitzpatrick was brought up from Miami to see if the Fitzmagic would work up there as well. He was injured in the opening day, and Taylor Heineke came in and took the starting role and posted an 85.9 QB rating. Things have not gone great under center for the Washington Commanders. So, you ever heard the phrase, Lonzo? Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. It's inspirational, right? You hear that phrase, you want to go out and, well, shoot for the moon.
Except I hear Cameron Grimes saying it, but that's just me.
That's to the moon. Anyway, you hear that phrase, and you can't help but be motivated. You want to go run through a brick wall. You want to go have a big day. You want to accomplish something that people say you can't accomplish. And the Washington Commanders, Lonzo, shot for the moon. See, they decided that they want in on the veteran free agent or trade pool at the quarterback position. So the Washington Commanders made a phone call to try to grab a quarterback via trade. Lonzo, they asked, according to Pro Football Talk and a few others, they reached out to inquire about acquiring via trade the services of Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Aaron Rodgers.
I know you did.
Yeah. Huh?
The Commanders called Brett Veach and the Chiefs to ask them what would they be looking for in order for the Commanders to acquire Patrick Mahomes as their new starting quarterback. You know, Lonzo, sometimes you got to dare to dream, right? Sometimes you got to think big and you got to think outside the box and you just got to go for it. All in, make the gutsy play, try to make something big happen.
All I hear is, but we can't have a triumphant video until we have Eddie Van Halen.
This is Brett Veach. Hey, Brett, Ron Rivera here. Just wanted to call. We're looking to fill out the roster with a couple of trades. Wanted to see if you guys might be interested in an idea. Sure, Ron. Who you looking for? Yeah, we were thinking about Pat Click. Beep. Hello? Brett? Brett, are you there? Brett, I think we got disconnected. Ron either heard a dial tone or just the entire city of Kansas City start roaring into laughter at the phone call of the Washington Warriors, Commanders, asking if they could pick up Patrick Mahomes. Look, the freaking decade to get that trade done.
Veach put it on speakerphone and said, "Hey, could
Ron,
you
say it again?
Could you? I'm sorry, I didn't think I heard you correctly. Could you say that one more time?"
Ron, I got a little static on my end. I didn't quite. Who was it you were looking for? Shh, listen. Who was it, Ron? Repeat that for me. Listen. Yeah, we were asking about Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes, kids, take it from your old Uncle Rob. Sometimes you have to give up on your dreams. All right. Sometimes you just got to let your dreams die. Sometimes you just got to let your dreams die, ladies and gentlemen. And Washington Commanders, this is one of those times. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. I want to talk about this more later on in the show, but the PGA Tour has announced for the first time its Player Impact Program bonus awards. The program measures players' popularities based on a set of criteria up to and including social media use and engagement. Effectively, the more popular you are as a golfer, the more money you make out of the Player Impact Program bonus. Lonzo, would you like to take a stab at what professional golfer won first place and the $8 million top prize for most popular and engaging golfer on the PGA Tour?
Bryson DeChambeau.
Not correct. You're overthinking it.
Tiger Woods.
That is correct.
The first was a joke.
Okay.
That was
Bryson will win it one year. Guarantee it. Because every face needs a heel. Bryson will win it one year. Tiger Woods, 15-time major champion, collected the I'm really glad for Tiger, you know? Like, something good should happen in Tiger Woods' life. He had that car accident. He got divorced. I just wish something good would happen for Tiger one day, and this is it. Good for Tiger. $8 million cash prize for Eldrick. Phil Mickelson tried to ruin it at the very end, but ended up taking second in the $6 million prize. $3.5 million to be distributed between Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, and Justin Thomas. $3 million to be awarded to Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, John Rahm, and Bubba Watson out of this.
Can we do that here on this station? I mean, to probably get like $5 out of it, but still.
I need to know what the metrics are before we start, before I agree to that. There are some older golfer fans, and there's some guys on tour now that think this program is bunk, and they're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why coming up later.
Okay.
What?
I can't wait till later because I have so many questions.
Oh, good.
That's fine.
Item number 3 on the lunch breakdown, and I'm going to tell you here and
You're
then talk about
tease.
it. I mean, it's almost like I work on the radio. Almost. You know who is almost working as well? Baseball players. Segue. That's how those work in radio, too. Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association did not strike a deal yesterday. There was a lot of conversation. A lot of people said, oh, they've been meeting for a very long time. Let's get it done. I didn't think it was going to get done because as far apart as it was reported that the two sides were going into yesterday's negotiations and the fact that they sat down, not started talking, but sat at the table 3.5 hours before the deadline. That's not how things work, man. You don't sit down 3.5 hours before a deadline and put together a multi-million-dollar contract, on the fly. Did not get done. Rob Manfred had a lot to say about it. We're going to hear what he had to say coming up. Elliot Clark had a lot to say. We'll tell you what he had to say coming up. And some talking heads like Jeff Passan and Tim Kirkjian spoke out as well. I got all that audio for you and my thoughts on baseball's failure to reach a deal. First 2 series of the season are officially canceled. We're going to talk about that when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's on the other side of the glass. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
I'll tell you a fact, ladies and gentlemen. As you get older, your health is going to need
Jermaine Couisnard scores at 17 as well. James Reese adding at 13. South Carolina, they get back at it on Saturday. They will wrap up the regular season with a matchup against 5 Auburn. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
You got this, Steven. You should do it. And no, I haven't caught him. No. But that's fine. I am somewhere in the low 20s now. Didn't play any multiplayer yesterday, though. Just played by myself. So, but I have this thing where I like to uncover the entire map, and I'm like 3/4 of the way. I got one more thing to do. I still haven't beat the main boss yet. It's possible, Tayshawn, that I've got some things to do though. So I get up Saturday mornings, do show prep till like noon, and then I got a show Saturday night, and then but Sunday probably for sure. And yes, Steven, again, download it, listen to it.
Tayshawn, I got your email yesterday. I am going to be playing a lot on Saturday night. So if you're going to be on Saturday night, I'll get you added, and may even talk the great one and Pappy into joining us Saturday night.
See, my thing about Saturday night, I'm trying to decide. There's a pay-per-view on Saturday night, and I may, yeah, but you can't do that with MMA.
You can't stream it on your
No, that's not what I mean. I mean attention-wise.
Oh, gotcha. All right, a lot of sound coming your way here. Let's run through the sound from Tony Clark to start. Tony Clark is the head of the MLBPA. Both he and Rob Manfred held impromptu press conferences yesterday after MLBPA and Major League Baseball's owners failed to reach an agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement. MLB then announced that the first 2 series of the regular season were canceled. March 31st is no longer opening day. It will, at earliest, be pushed somewhere into mid to late March at this point. Those are the only things we know, right? We've got some of the thoughts about what went wrong. Actually, let me start with this. Let me start with clip 3, if you don't mind, Lonzo. Jeff Passan went on ESPN after it was reported that the deal had been rejected by MLBPA unanimously, right? Unanimously, they rejected it. Jeff Passan came on and kind of hit the highlights of what it was that made the players say no.
It's very simple, Kevin. It barely moved from where it was before. Earlier in the day, the Major League Baseball Players Association had sent a counteroffer over to Major League Baseball. And in that counteroffer, they asked for a competitive balance tax threshold that started at $238 million, minimum starting at $725 million, and a bonus pool starting at $85 million a year. You can see the difference in the offers. It's been large this entire time, but after yesterday, there was hope that they would be able to bridge the gap this morning. It became apparent that it was not going to be bridged. And Kevin, we're left with one of the darkest days in baseball history, one where opening day is likely to be canceled and nobody knows when baseball is going to be back.
Yeah, how do they leave things here? Because your tweet earlier this afternoon saying this is a sad day for baseball, it makes it feel like they won't go back to the negotiating table later on this week. Will they continue talks after today?
That's unclear at this point, and a question certainly that Rob Manfred is going to be asked. But players right now are absolutely livid. They were hoping in good faith to make a deal that would start the season on time and feel like Major League Baseball was never going to make one. Similarly, Major League Baseball looks at the proposals from the Players Association and thinks that it wasn't serious about deal. And this is simply a continuation, Kevin, of the rhetoric that's been going on for nearly a year now since these negotiations first began. I've characterized it as two sides that are speaking different languages. It's not just talking past one another, but it's almost like they can't understand one another. And all of the grievances that Major League Baseball players have against the league came out and solidified their position. They weren't going to take a deal just to take a deal. Similarly, Major League Baseball was not going to move toward the players simply because they wanted them to move in that direction.
So there you go. There you go. He said it's not like they're sitting at the table. They're not even reading the same book, right? Forget they're not on the same page. Forget they're not in the same chapter. They're not even reading the same book at this point. I went, Lonzo, in the last 2 weeks, I went from 50% sure that we would play at least 100 games this year to about 80% sure that we would play at least 100 games this year. And now I'm back to about 15% sure we'll play at least 100 games, right? We've already got roughly 8 to 10 wiped off the books because the first 2 opening series have been canceled. Some teams would have one in the middle of those 2 series. So we're looking at here 8, we'll say 8, nice round number, 8 games off the books already for these teams. And according to Passan and Tim Kirkshin, we're not even close, right? The reporting all day yesterday was they're close. They put a lot of effort in this week. They made a lot of run at getting a deal done. We're close to a deal. Unanimously rejected was the proposal by the MLB yesterday. Unanimously rejected. And then the players started coming out and saying, yeah, there was all this reporting that we had made progress. We have not made progress. That was the owners trying to spin it into something that it is not. That was the owners trying to take control of the narrative. And I told you from the beginning, this was less. This is less about the negotiations, at least the way it's playing out in the public. It's less about we want you as fans to know what's going on, and more about both sides want to ensure that you're in their corner as fans, right? That's why either MLB Players Association's telling the truth or not. Either there really hadn't been any progress and Major League Baseball was trying to convince us that we had so that we would pull the fangs back a little bit, or there had been progress, but the players wanted more, and now they're painting MLB as the bad guys. Either way, this is more optics than anything else. I know over in politics, we use the word optics all the time, right? It's not always about the decision. It's not always about the speeches and the catchphrases. It's about the optics. How does this look at a surface level? I will tell you, at a surface level, this thing looks terrible for everybody. They both come off looking like a polished turd.
Yeah, it comes down to who can control the narrative and make it look like their side is the right side and they're doing everything they can, and the other side is hopeless. And it's coming from both ways. I am curious though, has there been any sport that has went on strike more than baseball?
Well, again, and I know one of the players, who was it? I don't remember. Well, actually, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Let me grab clip number 2B, if you don't mind, because that's part of the narrative, right? We're using the word strike. That's part of the narrative. The owners want you to believe that this is on the players. It was the owner's decision, and that is why Tony Clark said this.
Players want to play. We all know that. But the reason we're not playing is simple. A lockout is the ultimate economic weapon. Let me repeat that. A lockout is the ultimate economic weapon. In a $10 billion industry, the owners have made a conscious decision to use this weapon against the greatest asset they have, the players.
He's saying, we're not on strike. We're locked out. There's a difference.
He also has an amazing voice. I just want to.
He's got a good radio voice.
That's an awesome
voice. He really
voice.
does. He really does. Texter says, ESPN, after reading the lengthy article on ESPN concerning the MLB lockout, it was clear that the owners have at least offered concessions on every single point of contention. The players are asking for a lot more. Max Scherzer makes 5 years of my salary every single day, and they are striking over $25,000 difference in starting salary. Players can go pound sand, and I'll watch a lot of soccer this summer. Well, first off, good. I need soccer to keep growing. So glad to have you. And speaking of, huge deal for Team USA Soccer that I'm going to tell you about coming up later that I think proves that soccer continues to grow, but I'm going to hang on to that.
Also, might be a good time to get into college baseball.
College baseball is great.
They're still playing.
College baseball is
we
the
usually
best
have some good teams around here.
Yeah.
So, you know.
As a matter of fact, Wofford played Georgia last night at Fluor Field, and next weekend, Michigan State's coming down to play Clemson at Fluor Field. Don't hate that. So I'll be there for that one for sure. So here's the thing. When you talk about, the starting salary is one thing, but it's not just that, right? This is not just, like I've said, this is not just a negotiation over pay. I also want to, because I hear this phrase, I heard it yesterday. Oh, it's millionaires versus billionaires and the fans are losers. I agree. The fans are losers in this situation. Like they're losing, not that you are a loser. I am, but you're not. You get what I'm saying. Millionaires versus billionaires is the phrase I hear all the time. If you're the millionaire, there's a reason you fight for this, right? There's a reason you fight for this. If you made, Lonzo, $15 per hour, and that's a relatively average, relatively skilled pay rate that a lot of people are familiar with, is around $15 an hour, right? If you made $15 an hour, which works out to be $31,200 salary per year, Lonzo, it would take you 31 years to make $1 million, to just be paid $1 million, 31 years. You know how many years it would take you to be paid $1 billion at that same pay rate? Stab in the dark.
75.
32,051 years.
So it's close.
Yeah. That's the difference between $1 million and $1 billion. If you made $15 an hour, it takes you 31 years to make $1 million. If you're paid $15 an hour, it takes you 32,051 years to make $1 billion. All right? That's why these guys fight. That's why these guys are fighting, because they're looking and they're going, billionaires make what me. And look, the texter says, oh, Max Scherzer makes 5 years of my salary every single day. Well, capitalism, baby. Capitalism. That's how this game works, right? Max Scherzer has a skill that, like, 0.01% of people born either have or able or are in a position that they are able to discover that they have this skill. So yeah, of course he's going to make 5 times the money. I guarantee you, whatever it is you do, and I don't say this is a slight, but sometimes the truth hurts a little bit. Whatever it is that you do, I guarantee I know 5 people who do it just as well as you do, right? How many Max Scherzers do you know? There's only like 6 in the league itself that are as good as him.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with these guys making as much money as they possibly can. Get all you can for you. I don't have a problem with that. It just seems like whether it's a strike or a lockout or whatever you want to call it, it just seems like once every 5 years or so, we're dealing with this. And as a business model, I'm curious how they don't hurt their bottom line by doing this, because they lose fans when they do this. Somehow they get them back. I don't know if they have the same amount of fans they did 20 years ago, but you lose fans when you do this stuff.
Well, we haven't had a lockout like this since the early 90s, right? And it took baseball decades to get their fans back.
And steroids.
And steroids,
yes.
Yeah. Honestly, without steroids, it would have taken longer. You're not wrong. The McGuires and Marises McGuires and Sosa's chasing down Roger Maris record brought a lot back. They don't have that anymore. And if it happens again, how bad off, right? But again, if you're the players and you're looking at the amount of money that's been coming in and the fact that payrolls are down, you're mad about it.
But it also hurts coming off of COVID, coming off of not too long ago when we had 0 sports period, that it makes them seem even more selfish on both sides that they're doing this now, especially when people are starting to be allowed to get back in stadiums and some of the fears subsided and things like that. This should be the time when you're doing everything you can to get everybody back. And instead, it seems like baseball is pushing them away.
Yeah, it feels that way. It certainly feels that way from a fan perspective. Different texter says, want to share the profit, share the losses too. That's not how businesses work, right? And not entirely. The losses, again, the Braves made more money last year, right? Yeah, they took some hits during the COVID season, but the Braves made more money. The losses compared to the gains over the past 10 years are not equal at all, right? And again, the flip side of that would be, yes, the players would have to walk away, but if the players in the league walked away, as Jeff Passan pointed out yesterday, and the next best 1,200 players on planet Earth were all brought to MLB, it would be a lesser product. It would be a lesser product. That's not a question. That's a fact. So, again, the players are going, you can't do this without us. The owners are going, you can't do this without us. So how do we meet in the middle? And they're just not having a great time at making it happen. All right, let's take a break. Back after this, I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is ESPN Upstate. Actually says, if you guys are going to talk baseball, Lonzo has to do it in the baseball voice from the promo.
Reached a level in my career where I don't do requests.
From other teams and trading for Garoppolo. ESPN's Adam Schefter has reported Garoppolo is still likely to be traded.
Unless there's money involved, because nothing makes you more in the mood than, but cash. It's going to make a fans only joke, but then people would wonder how I know what that is. So. So they are now removing all the Russian teams from FIFA games. EA is doing that.
Hey, man. People play games in Russia. Take everything you can take from them to make them end it.
No, it's interesting. I've never seen the digital onslaught.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the world we live in now. It's just interesting to see this kind of stuff happen for the first time. It's a shame that it's having to happen, but this is like precedence for things going forward. If they take away their ability to TikTok, I don't think they can do that though because of where TikTok originates from, but still. I looked up runtime for the Batman movie. It's 3 hours. Just wanted to let you know. And there is no post-credit scene.
There is not.
Yes. It's good to know after 3 hours. You probably don't want to sit another 10. Although after 3 hours, we may be going, man, I wish there was a post. I'm ready to sit even.
Right.
I hope so. Oh, I hope the hype is right.
Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Wait for Upstate Sports Junkies. These pathetic junkies? Oh, look at you eat sports like food.
Texter says these players are making millions of dollars and have nothing invested. Maybe they should get a real job and see what the real world pays. I'm tired of the being and whining and crying for someone who makes that type of money. And yes, they can be replaced. There's plenty of people who would still go to the games to see people other than current players play. That's the facts. Really? Is that so? Texter, I understand where you're coming from. Don't agree with it, but understand. First off, yes, there are a lot of people. I promise you right now, if somebody from Atlanta called me right now and said, Rob, would you like to play right field for $75,000 a year? Yup. I'm a Braves now. Look at me, Ma. Made it to the show, right? You know how many people would pay to watch me play right field? A significant number because they think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm buying for that.
They think it's hilarious.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah. But the answer is the Braves aren't selling out if Rob Brown's being
When
trotted out.
you're
to right
looking at
field,
that ball going, nope. Ain't no way I'm making it
But
there.
you hit it so far away from me. I turn into Larry David in the outfield is what would happen. Again, here's why Liberob the Woke Warrior is agitating you right now. Why are your guns only set on the players, right? Why do you act like the owners are these martyrs? Why do you act like the owners are the saints of baseball? Like they are the owners. Without them, there's no, right. But without Max Scherzer, there's no MLB, at least not the way that we know it, right? The owners would still have teams. The stadiums would still stand. But look, I've been going to minor league games since I was a kid. There's going to be some Wednesday night drive games at Fluor Field this year that they're going to have 3,500, 4,000 people in there. It's not going to sell out. If your theory was correct and people just care about baseball, Fluor Field will be sold out every game and we'd be paying ridiculous ticket prices because we'll just watch anybody play, but we won't. We pay to watch the most athletically gifted people in the world play a game. That's where we get our entertainment, right? So why is it that you are treating the owners as if they are the revered figures of baseball and the owners of the players are the bad guy? The players who are valued at like 10% of what the owners overall are, right? In total value. Why are the owners inherently the good guys? Right? I guess this is my problem. Where Liberob the Woke Warrior wakes up a little bit. Guys, because someone is an authority figure does not mean they deserve respect. You know what deserves respect? Actions that say, I'm a respectable person. Being an authority figure doesn't mean anything. until you prove that your actions line up with the authority that you claim. And I mean that in every facet of life, right? Respect your elders. I've met some really crappy old people that I don't respect. Respect your teachers. I've met some really bad teachers that I don't respect. Respect your law enforcement. I do, except for the ones that I don't, because there's a lot of them that aren't good people. And that's true of teachers and business owners and managers and pastors and preachers. Every group. Respect is earned, not given. Why is it that the owners are automatically the good guys to you? Right? They have been making more money year by year. Year by year, they've been making more money. We know, you don't have to like it, but we know that if the best baseball players in the world didn't play MLB, attendance would fall. The owners can't do it without them. And yes, the baseball players can't do it without the owners. So why are the owners like just automatically the good guy to you? I think we've kind of gotten to this point in this country where they have a lot of money, therefore they must be smart and get a bunch of respect. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. And I'm not asking this like hypothetically, Texter. It's a genuine question. Why are the owners automatically the good guy? Well, they put everything on the line. Do baseball players not put their bodies on the line to play this game? Do baseball players not put their family and personal relationships on the line to play this game? Right? Well, they invest all the money. Okay, that's their business choice. And I guess it's technically the player's choice whether or not they want to play or not. But it is an agreement. Anyway, we'll see. Texter says, maybe Liberob, the woke warrior, should understand that most of, not all, the owners earn their money in other industries and bought a sports team at a great sacrifice. Very few are inherited family run and made billions on baseball. They make their money elsewhere for the most part, and I choose to invest in baseball. Yes. Do you understand that I don't care? Baseball players are still employees. And there needs to be fairness on every job site. Stephen Ross owns the Dolphins. He made his money as a real estate developer and investor. I don't know anything about the guy personally. You know what I do know? I don't respect him. I don't respect him. Because he does not, has not, and will not run the Dolphins the way that an invested owner should. He sits in New York in a high-rise condo. He calls down to Miami every now and then to declare what he wants done, and then that's it. I don't respect Stephen Ross because he made millions of dollars. That does nothing for me. Has he got a great work ethic? Sure. Do I respect that? Sure. But as an owner, I don't respect him as an owner. Why would I? Right? Well, they bought the team. Yes. And just like every other purchase that you make, it comes with risk. And it comes with responsibilities, and it comes with obligations. And if you are going to employ people, it comes with a baseline minimum set of expectations to do so. And when you start making more money and the employees go, hey, we make that product, we should get a cut of that. And you go, nah, it's not a great look. The only difference between Major League Baseball and John's Hardware, whose business ticks up, is that there's only one baseball. There's only one baseball league. But does that mean we just go, hey, Max Scherzer should only make $100,000 a year? Because that's a pretty ridiculous amount of money, right? Where else is he going to go? Yeah, it's not really how we roll, man. Texter says, bottom line, Rob, boss man makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I boat on company time. Well done, Mike. Says, great content. Love the show. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for checking in. Love that. Love that. We've started a revolution, Lonzo. You could even call it a movement. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
I'm not going to acknowledge it.
You eye rolled pretty good at it.
And Friday, sunny high of 62. Saturday, partly sunny high of 71, and Sunday, partial sunshine high of 77. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buchinskian at ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 72.
ESPN Upstate. No matter where the ball bounces, we got your hookup on your radio. It's 97.7 FM in Greenville and 97.1 FM in Spartanburg. On your computer at ESPNUpstate.com. On your phone or tablet on the Odyssey app. On your Amazon smart speaker. ESPN Upstate. And on your HD radio at WFBC HD3. At home, in the car, in the office. So many ways to get in the game with ESPN Upstate. All sports 24/7 for Upstate, South Carolina. Welcome, golfers, to our coverage of the 20-
People defending the owners are, number one, the reason I lost interest in baseball, and two, the old guard who think that owners deserve to control everything are the same people who hate the NIL. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a perfect circle, but the Venn diagram overlaps a lot, Keegan. Steven says, man, it's a beautiful day to work. I got to tell you, Lonzo, there are occasionally days that I'm kind of like, I wish I still worked from home.
Wait till tomorrow.
I know. Because I could take the Comrex out on the back porch and do the show. If I call in sick one day, but say I'm still going to do the show, just assume that's what I'm doing. I've just decided I want to work outside on the back porch.
Yeah, it don't matter to me. Well, it does, but good for you. I could do the same thing when I'm at home, but I'd be worried about tax squirrels.
Attack squirrels.
According to the weather app, it's 74 degrees outside right now.
Perfect.
Going to be up to 76. Tomorrow it's going to be up to 77. Oh, no, tomorrow's 81, actually. So I'm in a dilemma. Do I wear the slides tomorrow? Because I don't want to wear the slides to the theater, but I am going home so I can change shoes later. So I think that's what I'm going to have to do. The other question is, how warm will it be in here tomorrow? There's a little coincidental that we haven't had basketball this week, and it's been pleasant all week in here.
Shocking, eh?
I know. So went to Borderlands yesterday, still had the statue, but I didn't buy it again. Because this time it's, I have to wait till Friday. But they had two of them, and one of them's kind of hidden.
Is it busted?
No.
It was a busted one?
No. These are new ones. No, it's new. They're just pricey, and I don't have money right now. And then they added a few more things that I'm like, I don't need it, but I want it.
I've thrown away like legit 4 or 5 boxes of stuff that I've been carrying around for years. So according to the biggest challenge is now I have all this extra space, and I just want to fill it back up with new cool stuff.
Well, I've already been given permission to take a window and turn it into a window shelf. I just haven't tackled it yet because I'm not quite sure how to do it properly. I'm sure there are probably YouTube videos or something. And I want to turn it into a lighted case.
I learned how to hang floating shelves thanks to YouTube. Wrapping up hour number 1. I got some more sound from Tony Clark, Rob Manfred, Tim Kirkjian, and others. I'll play those later on in the show. We'll take a break from baseball for a few minutes. When we come back, a massive television deal just signed by the U.S. Soccer Federation that is going to put the men's and women's teams in an even greater number of households for more of their matches. And I think it's a big turning point I want to address that coming up in just a few minutes. That player impact program, we talked about the PGA Tour where golfers are going to make money based on fan engagement. Well, Tiger Woods won that prize this year, $8 million to him, $3 million to lefty Phil Mickelson, who came in second, and then a host of golfers tying for third and fourth. Some of them not real thrilled. Some of the guys who didn't make money on it are not real thrilled. They want it switched to a performance bonus. I'm going to tell you why I actually like what the PGA Tour has done here and why I think it is good for the sport coming up in the next hour of the show. And we mentioned that volatile QB market that the Panthers are at this point, if they want to draft an offensive lineman in the opening round of the NFL draft, going to have to be involved in unless they play Cam Newton. Couple more names that have popped up that may possibly, potentially, question mark, ultimately be long-term connected to the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to tell you what those names are coming up in just a little while from now, and plenty more. Art Briles was hired as the offensive coordinator at Grambling State under former Raiders coach Hugh Jackson. He was there for 4 days before he decided to step down in the midst of a quagmire of controversy. I'm going to talk a little bit about that coming up later on as well. Going to be a busy second hour. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. You're you. And you are listening to the show that the South Carolina Broadcasters Association declared the best sports talk radio show in the state of South Carolina. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate. And I got it way out early there. Sorry about that.
Well, I thought you were going out early, like 2 minutes early there for a second.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update powered by The Score. Clemson basketball, they're back at tonight as they match up against Georgia Tech. We'll see when the team might get back PJ Hall and Hunter Tyson. Earlier in the week, it was indicated that those two players should be able to return at some point in time before the season comes to an end. South Carolina basketball, they pick up a win against Missouri yesterday, winning 73-69 as freshman Devin Carter has 17 points and Jermaine Couisnard scores at 17 as well. James Reese adding up to 13. South Carolina, they get back on Saturday. They will wrap up the regular season with a matchup against number 5 Auburn. Download the Score app.
What you doing?
Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard Offsides with Mark Ryan?
Colin Will.
We are planning on rewiring your delays.
Okay.
And by your delays, I mean the delays in the building. Several of them have already been done, but yours is not. And I am prepping for when we actually make the switch.
So nothing changes as far as I'm concerned, right? I can just, unless you wanted to move it closer, but I don't have to use it very often. So
No, we're not
Yeah.
moving it. We are rewiring it.
I got you.
We're just running, so we're plugging its audio output and input into different equipment.
As long as the chairs hold up, I'm good. My sudden need to go.
It's not up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Good. Glad I don't have to spell it out.
Don't be picking up the mean from the department you're in, Chris.
I will say the more time I spend with Tony Dimsdale, the less I like people.
Remember, we're on stream, so I just want you to,
Thank you for the reminder.
you should remember that. Yeah.
I've told Tony the same thing.
it is a long tradition of, even before him. So it's not like it's anything new. Which is weird, dealing with such wonderful people as us. I mean,
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show starts right now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. I'm Rob, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the glass. Join us, won't you? The Preferred Home Services text line is open for you at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. So just text 71307 and start your message with ESPN and then say your piece. We'll read them on the air. You can call in as well. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the way to go to be on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and you can tweet us all at the station at ESPN Upstate, at ESPN Upstate, all the different ways to get in touch with the show. Should you elect to do so, bring the noise, kids. Bring the noise. A couple of things that I wanted to get to. Let's open it up here on the show. I wanted to talk about this PGA Player Impact Program. Now, stick with me for just a minute, if you don't mind. Because while it is a golf-centric story, it is not only a golf story. Here's what I mean by that. Ladies and gentlemen, the year is 2022. This planet is more connected than it has been at any point in history and will only grow in connection, human to human, moving forward. A lot of what happens on social media is bad. A lot of it is bad. But I truly, genuinely believe much more of it is good than bad. I think the ability to connect with other people of different backgrounds and races and creeds and religions and identifications or whatever, I think it's a good thing. I think shared experience is what changes people's minds about stuff, right? We have learned more, and you can learn more than ever before. Lonzo and I were talking during the break. Both of us got some home improvement projects going on right now. Lonzo's going to hang some shelves. What'd you call it? A window shelf?
I'm going to replace a window and turn it into a lighted shelf.
There you go.
Yes.
Now, if Lonzo wants to learn how to do that, you just pop on a YouTube. There's 1,000 carpenters and contractors with YouTube channels that'll show you how to do it. If you have a question, a genuine question about the background or culture of a specific people, you can pop onto Reddit and just ask those people directly. You don't have to speculate, right? The world is crazy connected. And like it or not, if your job rotates around having an audience, right? Lonzo and I, our jobs, all of them, rotate around having an audience. We need people to be listening to us, talking to us, interacting with us, paying attention to us. That's how we make all that money me and Lonzo make.
Straight up cash, homie.
Cha-ching, son. You got to have that. Then you got to have people that are interacting with you. It's got to happen. That's what this PGA Player Impact Program was set up to do. It was set up to create a reason for golfers to be more engaged with fans, with people. Because the more engaged you are with people, the more people engage back with you. One of the reasons, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. One is I love sports. But one of the reasons that you see Rob Brown popping up at as many local sporting events across the upstate as I do, Rabbits Drive, Triumph, Spartanburgers, wherever we pop up, there's two reasons. One, because I like sports, and I have a really good excuse to go to as many as I can with this job. And number two is I want to meet you guys. I want to meet you guys. Saturday, Lonzo, I was at the Triumph v. Clemson game up at Historic Riggs. And right across the street from the stadium is a little bar called TD's. It's actually not a little bar. It's a really cool bar. And the bartender there, a guy by the name of Met, he's from Turkey, big soccer guy. So we got to talk soccer with a Turkish guy who has immigrated here and opened up a bar. So I'm standing at the bar, getting myself a little halftime cocktail before I walk back over to the stadium. And a guy walks up to me and he taps me on the shoulder. And he says, "Hey, I'm really sorry to bother you. Are you Rob?" And I said, "Only if you like the radio show." Because if somebody asks me, am I Rob, 94% of the time, it's because of the radio show. I said, "Only if you like the show." And he said, "I do. My name's Mike. I am here because I heard you talking about this on the show. And I heard you say you were going to be here, and I wanted to come check it out. And I'm really glad I got to meet you. Nice guy. Like the guy." We follow each other on Instagram now because we're that level of buddies. All right? Mike's a nice guy. That's why we do it. Because we want you guys to be engaged. We want to engage with you. The more I engage with you, the more you engage with us, the better all of us do. We get to do a better show. We get more interaction. We get paid more, allegedly. And that's a joke. All right.
Which part?
Yeah. We get paid more. We get to do more cool stuff. And the more we get to do and the more cool stuff we're involved with, the more that you guys get out of the radio program, right? That's what this PGA Tour program was for. Now, Tiger Woods has a built-in advantage because Tiger Woods has more fans than any other golfer has and ever, well, I won't say ever will, but has more fans than any golfer ever has in the history of golf as a whole. So, of course, he can engage more. He's already got more people to engage with. But when you give Bubba Watson $3.5 million or whatever he won to drive up fan impact, and Bubba gets to go buy another replica of the General Lee from Dukes of Hazzard as he owns down in Baghdad, Florida, my neck of the woods. Lonzo, if I told you that if you tweeted 75,000 times before the end of the year, you'd make $3 million, what's your Twitter account going to look like?
Every 10 seconds,
Yeah.
I'm going to be,
Yeah. I don't care if you already have $3 million. $3 million is a lot of money.
You know what this makes me think of, though? The great prophet, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Because, the golfers, well, this is not how we do things. And then the guy who was over the whole thing, I don't remember the character name, was like, no, we'll just let it go.
Yeah.
Because suddenly they were bringing in a new crowd. There were more people interested in the sport of golf, and it seemed less stiff. So this is kind of along that lines.
Shooter. Yeah, that's exactly right. Here's the thing. And this goes for baseball as much as it does golf. Golf did something smart here. Golf said, we're going to let everybody on the tour be eligible to win millions of dollars simply for engaging with fans. That's all they got to do is engage with fans. Now, let's say you're old hat. You're like, no. Only the most sophisticated of gentlemen shall be allowed to attend the tour. And of course, no women. Right? If that's your mentality on golf, golf's not for you anymore. Right? And this goes back to Tiger Woods. Tiger showed up on the scene, was one of a tiny number of minorities playing on the tour. He was young. He was flashy. He was energetic. He threw those fist pumps like he was a heavyweight boxer. He was good looking. He was rich. And all of a sudden, golf was as popular as golf has been ever. And it was because Tiger was so radically different from the, as Lonzo described it, stuffy old game that it always had been, right? 32-foot putt for double bogey or for double birdie, and you hear, bravo, bravissima, outstanding work, James. It's boring, and nobody wants it. Why do you think the Waste Management Open? We played that clip of the hole-in-one. Lonzo, it looked like a frat party at a Super Bowl at Carnival in Rio. It was nuts. And And it was also the best thing that golf has done so far this year. Now, I'm not saying you can't still have tradition. The Masters is always going to be the most watched golf event of the calendar.
You know you're uppity when the golf clap is a thing.
Delightful. The most outstanding tea and crumpets. The Masters is still going to be there. There's place for tradition. But golf, funny enough, because if you'd have asked me 2 years ago what sport was going to be the first to do something like this, it would not have been golf. But golf said, how do we get our athletes to open up to a new world of fan, to a new demo of fan? It's very simple. Pay them to do it, right? Pay them to do it. Part of the reason you boys on Twitter all the time, it ain't just because every night at 3 a.m. I'm like, I should probably get on Twitter and see what the world's doing. Dude, part of my job is to be accessible to you guys as often as possible. Twitter is the best tool to make that happen. I didn't go to a Super Bowl party this year. You know why? Because I knew I wanted to pop in and do live streams at halftime, third quarter, end of the game, post game. Gave up the Super Bowl party for that. And also because my couch and big screen were a pretty good environment for that. But you get the point? You get the point?
And you didn't have to pay extra for the food or
yeah, the beer was already
that.
free.
There you go.
Beer was already paid for. Golf realized before anybody else the best way to do this, because, you know, all the other sports obviously have their own Twitter accounts and they interact. Like the NFL does a pretty good job on their Twitter account and whatnot. But fans aren't looking to engage with a nameless intern running a social media handle. Who do the fans want to engage with before anybody else? The players, right? The athletes.
There's a flaw in this whole thing, though. So this is the very first year of it, right?
Yes.
So the guy who won, when's the last time he played?
15 months ago.
So not even, he didn't play in the year that he won.
He is still technically on tour. He is a lifer. He is still technically on tour.
He may never play.
Right. Now, again,
that way again.
I agree.
So.
Lonzo, I would have probably cut Tiger out of this, right? You're already, if you ain't a billionaire, you're close. And you have like 3 times as many Twitter followers as anybody else.
Yeah, and the point is to raise the popularity of the other players. He's already reached a level that
it's not just who tweets the most. It's about who drives the most engagement. They have metrics that you're using. So
yeah, but you're trying to build these guys to that point so they can do that.
Tiger is going to get extra points in the matrix if he works other golfers into his tweets, right? And it's more than just Twitter. It's about showing up and going to events, and it's about showing up at different promotions and parties throughout the year. It's not just Twitter. I just use that as an example. But there are a lot of metrics. I don't have them all in front of me, but it's like being able to work other lower tier golfers into your tweets. If a golfer gains 25,000 followers because Tiger Woods mentions him in a tweet, Tiger gets points, the other guy's going to get points, right? It's a whole conglomeration of metrics. But boiled down to its simplest, the reason that this is the deal that this is because golf figured out fans want to interact with the athletes, nobody else, right? If we let generic ESPN Upstate intern A run our Twitter account, it is going to get less interaction than if me or Mark jump on Twitter, right? If ESPN Upstate starts a Super Bowl halftime show live stream run by Todd and Tim, the ESPN Upstate interns, a handful of y'all will pop in.
Or Alonzo and Diesel, whatever you want to name them.
I mean, even you are going to get more than that. You're Alonzo. You're the great one.
Even you.
Even you.
It's done now. You can't take it back.
But if Mark and I pop on and do the stream, that's the I'm not saying it's a lot, but that's the max interaction we're going to get, right? Because you guys want to interact with the guys who do it. So golf figured this out and jumped on board. It is about exposure and it's about interaction, right? It's about being able to not just watch the athletes play the game, Major League Baseball, but it's about giving us experiences that we wouldn't otherwise get. Patrick Cantlay is on tour. And Cantlay said, quote, I think I'm old school in the respect that I would like the money to be doled out relative to play, and I don't think PIP does that. It may be the first departure that the tour has had from rewarding good play to rewarding social media or popularity presence, so I don't like that departure, end quote. You already make a lot of money based on how you play. Do you know how the tour rewards the best play? If you win the tournament, you get the most money. And if you come in second, you get the second most money. And for those of you playing the Rob Brown Show Home Edition, write down your answers. If you come in third, you get the third most money. They already do that, Patrick. But see, here's the thing. Tuning into ESPN and hearing whoever the anchor is go, here we go. Patrick Cantlay on the 6. Got an opportunity at birdie from 32 feet away. Got a nice little left to right break against the grain on this one. So he's going to have to motor this one up a little harder than he might hit on some of the other greens here. Putts away. Wow. What a putt. Just absolutely spectacular putt from Patrick Cantlay here on 16. Let's send it over to Dottie at 14. Right? If you're a golf guy, sure, that's great. But if that's the best you offer, the game's not going to die because there's always going to be golf fans. The game's not going to grow, right? That's why I think there should be more Phoenix Open events on tour. There should be more like the Phoenix. We should have more greens where if somebody gets a hole in one, an entire brewery comes down on top of them. We should have more of that. We should have more pro-ams like the one last year where, who was it? Steph Curry and his pops were playing with a pro, and one of them jumped into the lake after they birdied 18, right? Give me more of that. Give me some variety here that people who aren't going to tune in for. Send it back to Scott on the number 3 here. Thanks, Tim. We're here on number 3. Tiger Woods teeing off. He's going to pull out the 7-iron on this layup short of the creek.
The announcers sound just alike. That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Twins, you know. So this is a phenomenal idea, and more sports ought to lean into it, right? More sports ought to lean in. I saw an interaction the other day, and I wish I could remember who it was from. It's from a retired UFC fighter, Lonzo. And I don't remember which one, but that UFC fighter is now doing MMA commentary. And he responded to a tweet where a guy said, the only reason this guy's on commentary now is because he sucks as a fighter. And the guy wrote back, the fighter wrote back and said, would you say that to my face? And the original tweeter said, no, I wouldn't say it to your face. You'd kick my ass. And the guy wrote back, yeah, fair enough, right? That's an incredible interaction. Automatic follow if the guy's that funny, right? If he has interactions like that, I follow. Now, I got to hook in, right? If I'm not an MMA guy, but I see this interaction and it makes me laugh and I follow this guy to see if it'll make me laugh more, now I'm in. Now he starts posting clips of fights, training sessions, etc. Now I'm going, okay, this might be kind of interesting, right? If the match, right? We've had the match the last couple of years where Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Bryson DeChambeau and all these different athletes have showed up and they just play golf. Now, honestly, if they were just following their carts around with a camera, I'd get pretty bored of it. But when Charles Barkley is calling Tom Brady and betting him $1,000 he can't get it on the green from 175, now I'm intrigued. I'm going to follow that. That's going into my algorithm. And once it's in my algorithm, you got an opportunity to start putting other clips of your events on. And if I get hooked by Barks betting the GOAT that he can't put it on the green from $170, and I'll bet you $1,000 on it. And now I care about that shot, right? Now when Phil Mickelson goes, yeah, Brady's going to pull out the 7-iron here. A lot of golfers would be hitting an 8-iron, but, you know, Brady not a golfer. He's going to go 7-iron and try to hit it right to left so he doesn't catch the slope and roll off. Now I care about the shot because Tom Brady's got a G rolling on it, and I'm intrigued by that. How is golf the groundbreaking sport here? How is golf the sport that figured this out as quickly as anybody else, right? Golf did it? Sorry, Patrick. The bonus for playing good is, winning the most money by winning tournaments. But golf needs to grow. Golf needs to get more fans if it wants to continue to thrive. And how do you do that? By taking advantage of the most human-to-human connected society that's ever existed on planet Earth. By giving people who live on the interwebs, like your boy, a behind-the-scenes look into what worked. F1 did it with the Netflix documentary. I guarantee you when the numbers come out, F1 last year had its greatest year in the history of viewership in the United States. I guarantee it, because of a documentary. If golf continues to do stuff like this, it'll keep growing as well. Let's take a break. We're back after this. I'm Rob. He's Alonzo. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate.
Putting your employee safety first. And Manny in Chattanooga, whose local Ranger team knows him by name. We're here for you.
Keegan just taunting us at this point. I appreciate it, Kay. Thank you.
He didn't tell us what he made, though.
True. It's daytime. Burgers and hot dogs. Steaks are for nighttime grilling.
Not if you're rich.
No, steaks are the last meal of the day. Once you eat a steak, you're done. It should be the last thing that goes in your mouth that night. Welcome back, Ben. Good to have you back, partner.
What if the steak is in a burrito or on nachos?
Say that again?
What if the steak is in a burrito or on nachos or in a fajita?
No, I'm talking about a steak.
Yeah, but it's still steak.
That's like flank steak. Flank steak is fine for putting into
You
stuff.
might be going somewhere where they got what? Some Kobe beef, some carne asada, or whatever that stuff is. What if you're going to a fancy restaurant? They only put the best steak in your nachos.
I would, if you took like a good filet mignon and cut it up for nachos, I'd be offended.
I wouldn't.
I would. That's not what it's for. A steak should be so good that you don't want to tarnish it with something even as good as nachos. And nachos are a goat food for me.
I disagree. If you can put it on nachos, that takes it a step up. If your normal steak nachos are good, but suddenly they're filet mignon steak nachos.
Right, but you're killing off the best food.
Yeah, some fancy restaurant in New York is serving steak nachos for like $50 a plate.
Oh, I'm sure that they are.
So steak and eggs for breakfast. You just can't do it.
No, I like steak and eggs for breakfast. But
Well,
again,
you just said it had to be.
but I'm eating the steak last when I do that.
Well, yeah, especially if your eggs are sunny side up. That
And
way
again,
you
I'm
can
also like
dip the
I'm
steak
not
in.
making steak and eggs with Wagyu beef. I'm making it with like a decent T-bone, maybe. When I talk steak, I'm talking like high quality steaks.
I don't make that rich talent salary. So, you know. It could be dog or goat for all I know.
Go to IKEA and get horse.
Tasty horse meat. My mom used to joke about the steaks made out of horse meat all the time when we were kids. And we were on welfare, so it really could have been horse meat. I don't know.
Keegan, in 9 days, I'm very excited to be standing next to you as you take on your life partner.
Don't you go at Keegan like that.
I will fist fight you if you say things like this about me in public. I will fist fight you before your wedding and then stand next to you in it. Delightful conversation about steaks going on during the break on the Facebook stream. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate. Or on YouTube, search The Rob Brown Show.
It was
Like,
a one.
follow,
It was
subscribe.
a one conversation.
Was it?
There's no
You do not
doubt.
have to be a 1%er to appreciate a great steak. A steak is not a steak is
Rob,
not a side dish, right? It's a steak is a primary dish. When you have a steak dinner, the steak is the most important thing on the plate. You can have some solid, asparagus and mashed potatoes or whatever to go with it. But at the end of the day,
Your southern accent's getting better.
mashed taters.
Yes.
You're at the end of the day, the steak is the most important part. And when I talk about steak, I'm talking about high quality cuts, right?
Yeah, but you
Talking about
said you
good
can't. You
steak.
can't any other time of the day except for supper or dinner, however you want to say it, in the evening. That should be your last meal. I disagree because there are a lot of really good steakhouses around here. If we had a chance to go broadcast live from one for lunch, I'd be eating the steak. Rob would because you'd have to wait till the evening.
A good steak should be your last meal of the day. If you have a great steak, you should finish it and be like, I am content until the morrow.
Is that what the 1%ers?
Yeah, that's what us 1%ers say.
Yeah, okay.
Texture says that's wrong. I eat steak and eggs on the reg. No. You're not listening to what I said. I didn't say you can't have steak at other points. Steak nachos, as Lonzo brought up, great idea. Steak and eggs in the morning, good idea. I'm saying you're not using your high quality cut for steak and eggs, right? You're using your pedestrian, got it at the dollar store, the grocery store on the way home last night, threw it in the fridge overnight. Now I'm making steak and eggs. But I'm saying if you go out and you buy yourself a cut of Wagyu steak, right? If you go out and you get yourself a quality filet mignon, you are not cooking up a quality filet mignon to throw on top of some scrambled eggs.
Where are all my people out there who don't like being told how to do things? I would appreciate it if you go out and buy a really nice cut of steak tonight and cut it up and put it in nachos or burrito or something like that and send Rob the pictures just so he can make the face he's making now.
Do not do that. Do not do that. Block and report as spam. If you go get a good quality, I'm talking butcher shop quality, right? It's not a disrespect to them, but I'm not talking about, oh, I picked up this 3-pack wrapped in cellophane from the grocery store. I'm talking about you go to the butcher shop where the cow was alive this morning and get yourself a good quality cut of premium steak. Don't put that on scrambled eggs, man. Don't cut that up for nachos. That steak and you deserve better.
All right, because obviously a heathen. I need some. What is the lowest level of high quality beef so I know I need to go underneath that?
Look, if you stop at a grocery store on the way home today and you pick up a steak, that's fine for nacho steak or steak and eggs or to cut up and put into a quesadilla. I'm good with that. But if you stop home at the butcher shop where all they do is cut a good steak, that is where you make the steak a steak, a good steak, a quality steak. That's the one that you go steak, little mashed potatoes, a little asparagus, and the last bite of that I'm eating tonight is the best bite of the steak.
So would you consider those trucks that come around with the frozen steaks? Is that like
I know what you're talking about.
are those just mobile?
No, those are I mean,
those aren't mobile butchers?
No. If your steak has been frozen, it's fine for steak and eggs. But if you freeze a top quality steak, I got questions about you. If you're going to do steak for dinner, right? I want a good steak for dinner. You buy that steak on the way home to make dinner, right? You buy it on the way home to make dinner. If you grab a steak that sits in your fridge for a couple of days.
20th century. I mean, we don't do things like that in the 21st century.
Yes, Lonzo. Now, if the butcher shop delivers, great. But that steak needs to have been alive in the past 2 to 3 days. If it's going to be a quality steak, that is a steak dinner.
This just sounds like, hey, Marge, we're going to have a steak this Friday. Head down to the butcher shop and get us one of them there steaks.
Let's see. Texter says, watch me cook a $50 Wagyu for breakfast. I am the true 1%er, and it's sunny side up, you communist.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah.
I mean, if you I just pick up a $50 steak to throw on some eggs money, good on you, I guess. Good on you. But
I believe that we have listeners with those abilities.
Sure. And I will come over for your Wagyu steak breakfast. But
no,
I don't.
So you couldn't, unless, if you were up all night, then technically breakfast would be supper. So
It's happened. Texture says, so mixing Buffalo Trace and Coke is a crime too? Yes! Yes, it is! If you get a nice bottle of bourbon, then enjoy the bourbon. If you don't like quality bourbon, like if you don't drink bourbon straight, then why would you buy expensive bourbon to pour it in a soda?
I'm glad you explained that because I thought that was a
bourbon.
drug deal going down or something right there. I was like, I need to leave the room.
It kind of is. My drug of choice is bourbon. If you buy high quality bourbon, don't you pour it in a soda? Just get you some cheap bourbon and give that bourbon to somebody who appreciates it, like me. Texas says, what if you're so 1% that you can afford to use butcher shop cuts for steak and eggs? I mean, if you're also going to use butcher shop steak for dinner that night, then I just kind of feel like you're wasting a good steak. I think even if you're a 1%er with infinite money, the point is not that the steak is being eaten with eggs. The point is that if the steak is made correctly, if it is grilled correctly, and it is a good cut of steak, it should be so good that you don't want to tarnish the flavor of the steak with eggs. It is not about, oh, I got Wagyu for breakfast money. It's about the Wagyu should be so well prepared that you don't want to tarnish it with eggs.
Lots of good stuff on the stream right now, by the way. Just want to point out.
Texter says Lowe's Grocery has aged steaks. I mean, again, quality.
Well, what's an aged steak? So you killed the cow last week, and now it's this week, so the steak is aged.
I mean, there's a way to age a steak that it's supposed to change the flavor of it, which you can. I like my fresh cuts.
I still have poor man ideas, so I'm trying to learn this stuff.
Keegan says Waffle House steak is elite. Listen, I love the Wahoo. You can find me in a Wahoo on a not so infrequent Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah, but
usually about 2:30 in the morning.
I was going to say, do you have to be at a certain level of something to actually decide, let's go to Waffle House?
No, I'll go to Wahoo anytime. I have to be at a certain level of something to love the Waffle House. I'll pop into the Waffle House on a regular day for a Texas melt.
But not for steak.
Not for steak.
If someone bought you that steak, would you eat it?
A Waffle House steak?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's like, that's a steak I would cut up and put on top of a ham and cheese omelet and love it. Right?
So you're going to mix your steak and ham together?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
If it's a Wahoo steak. Let's see. Texter said, my birthday this year, I had a Wagyu strip and lobster with cheesy eggs, then proceeded to drink an entire bottle of cheap vodka. So you went Wagyu strip, lobster and eggs, and then threw down cheap vodka. You just couldn't go the extra mile to get you some good high quality vodka on the way out? Man, I support that for a birthday meal, but you polished it off with cheap plastic bottle vodka?
Well, I just want to say not loaded, but loaded by the end of the. Think about it.
If you drink a whole bottle, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Texter says, can't end on the best piece. Start at the best part of the steak and then work yourself out. No, I disagree entirely. I will take the best bite, move to the side, then eat from the next best bite out, and then save the best bite for last.
So you can look at the steak and go, okay, that piece, that's the best bite right there.
Yeah, if it's good steak, yeah. Get that big, thick, juicy part.
Is there a YouTube video for that? Because I don't get it.
Texas says, Rob, how have you not said myoglobin yet?
He was thinking it.
Texter says, seems like Rob has a high stake steak and his steak take quake, make or break. Yeah, well done. Well done. Texter says, can't
Then
say,
he said, well done.
Well done.
Didn't even know.
I didn't even think about it.
Yes.
Dadgummit. Texter says, can't say vodka on the radio. Vodka, 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 vodka.
Communists, we need to go to break.
Vodka, rum, bourbon, whiskey, gin. I'll say them all. And finally says burnt ends and burnt ends. I like a good burnt end. I like a good smoke and a good burnt end too. But if I'm doing steak, I want that high quality.
So this burnt end thing is on purpose?
On the grill. Yeah, it's a way of cooking it.
Okay.
On the grill. Marinated for a couple hours beforehand and whatever marinated choice. I'm a big Dale's fan. If you haven't had Dale's before, Dale's is good stuff. And then cook the steak. And then don't put it on eggs. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate. See what you did to me, people? That wasn't supposed to be a steak segment.
So this is
not against the steak segment.
This is good for me because, you hear about the people on the other side of the tracks and now I'm it's the other side of the glass, but at least I'm here and I'm getting to learn all kinds of stuff. I'll never actually be able to do it myself, but And I can't even live vicariously through Rob, but at least I'm getting some explanations. So let's say you have a really good quality steak, but there's some left over because you couldn't eat it on it. It is possible. It's possible to not eat the whole thing. And so you have the next day, is it acceptable to put that steak on nachos? It's not fresh. So it's been. It is, like I said, it's possible.
Yeah. I've never not finished a steak. If you're at the table with me and we have that high quality steak and you don't finish yours, I will. So I don't know if I can answer that question because I've never been in that situation or close to it.
I've been known to cut the steak in half and only eat half of it and take half of it home, especially when there's quite a bit of stuff going on the sides. You still didn't answer the question, though.
I don't know that I can.
Okay. We've talked about weirder stuff than that, Brandon.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
This is really about, we just want to be sponsored by a local butcher shop. That's all. It was a marketing ploy. It hasn't worked yet, but somewhere out there, a butcher shop listens to us every day and goes, you know what? I need to get in on that.
They're rooting for us right now. They're rooting for me.
They're rooting for you. They're rooting for you. Yeah. I'm playing the other angle. I don't believe you exist, so you can prove to me that you do. And, then suddenly an epiphany goes off and I will say, you're absolutely right. As I'm, putting an entire freezer. Well, I'm not allowed to freeze steaks apparently. So you're lower quality steaks.
I mean, you're allowed to do whatever you want. I don't have to like it.
Now, the contrarian in me wants to go, okay, I know Wednesday is pizza night, but tonight I should just have steak, the highest quality I can afford, which still probably not the quality that Rob's used to, and then just cut it up and put it on nachos. And then send a text to Rob of the nachos, which he'll never open. But at least I know that I sent the text. Well, I'll have you know that you and Chris reached some decibel levels earlier that were really painful.
Out there?
In the office.
When you were talking?
When I got up and left a couple of times.
Oh, gotcha.
Because of pain.
We might be the two loudest people in the building.
Oh, no, there's no mic.
No, might be?
No, there's no mic. Stone Man would think he can compete with how he yells to scare everybody going on. Nah. So if you notice, while I was in there editing, I did the opposite. Instead of turning up, I turned down and just leaned into my speaker.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Texter earlier in the show said, I don't care if you talk about golf, anything to keep soccer off the air. So anyway, Team US Soccer has just signed a big deal. UA Soccer and Turner Sports struck a new 8-year deal that will bring streaming games to HBO Max starting next year, according to the organization. The deal will make TNT and TBS, along with HBO streaming service, the new home for the U.S. men's and women's national team. They have a current deal right now with ESPN and Fox Sports, but that will end at the end of this season. U.S. Soccer President Cindy Parlow-Cone said in a statement, quote, "We are thrilled to be partnering with Turner Sports at this amazing time for soccer in the United States. During our discussions, it was clear how dedicated they are to growing soccer in the U.S., especially their commitment to expand the women's game. As we build towards 2026 and beyond, we have found a fantastic partner to spotlight the stories of our women's and men's national teams." Of course, Fox now holds the rights for the next 2 World Cups, both later this year in Qatar and in 2026 in North America, including the U.S., and the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Turner will broadcast World Cup qualifying matches, though the U.S. isn't expected to have to play any before the 2026 event, as the 3 hosts, Canada, the United States, and Mexico, will all receive automatic bids. HBO Max will also stream more than 20 national team matches each year, about half of which will be televised on either TNT or TBS. The networks will also broadcast pre-Olympics matches, the She Believes Cup, and more. Warner Media is also reportedly interested in trying to land either all or part of Major League Soccer's media rights deal starting next year. Now, there's one positive and one negative that immediately jump out about this to me. I'm going to start with the fact that as TBS, TNT, and HBO Max are not like the most readily accessible venues for watching sports, they're not bad at all, but they're not the most readily accessible. And ESPN is known to kind of lay off of sports that ESPN does not carry, right? ESPN doesn't carry soccer, not going to get a lot of soccer. You can look at the NHL for that. For years, the NHL really didn't have a presence on ESPN. And so because of that, you didn't really get a lot of NHL highlights on SportsCenter. And I'm a bit worried soccer will suffer the same fate, not at the U.S. level, because at the end of the day, the national teams have a big enough following that I don't think they are able to be ignored by ESPN. But if MLS goes 100% Warner Media, you're going to see far less MLS coverage on ESPN, and I think that's to the detriment of MLS. However, the accessibility will skyrocket, right? They're centralized. They're one place. You can stream every game. If they get the MLS rights, to be able to stream every MLS game would be huge because it's tough to do right now. Folks, I've told you guys for a while, I think that Greenville is a small but very relevant and very important cog in the wheels of soccer growing in this country. This television deal to me is proof that that is happening, right? Proof that it's happening. And part of the reason I think they go Warner Media instead of Fox or ESPN is because while those networks would buy the rights to these games, they would not be a priority. ESPN is not going to prioritize Tuesday night MLS over the Tuesday night NBA game of the week that they have. Fox is not going to prioritize MLS over Major League Baseball, right? I think in probably 5 to 8 years, soccer surpasses baseball, depending on what happens with his lockout. But right now, they're not going to surpass it in order to put soccer on TV. Warner Media is going to put everything they can on a screen somewhere. And as a soccer fan, that one of my big gripes has been for years that it is very tough to access soccer, right? If you're an MLS fan, you got to jump through some hoops to be able to watch Orlando City take on Montreal. If they put it all on HBO Max, cool. I'm logged in. I watch the game. Just that simple.
How well have the sports done on like Peacock? Because I know Peacock had all of the Olympics. How well did that do? Did it entice people to come there to watch?
The Olympics aren't really fair because Winter Olympics specifically are not a great indicator of sports fans in this country. We're just not a Winter Olympics country, right? We'll be checking 6th in the medal count overall. We're not a Winter Olympics country, so I don't know if I'd use that. I think your better examples, well, let me put it this way. Vince doesn't move WWE over to Peacock if there's not profit in it, right? By the way, Peacock's WWE product is inferior to the WWE network. Lonzo, when you and I were subscribed to WWE Net, it was the best wrestling streaming service I've ever seen.
Without a doubt, because
Yeah.
you could go there and you could find just about anything on Peacock.
Yep.
It's definitely a lot more difficult. At least they fixed it. You can rewind back
Yep.
now.
But it's slow, but it's profitable. They wouldn't do it if not. A lot of people already have HBO Max, not because of soccer, but because they just have HBO Max. Puts this in front of them, right? You put this as one of the home screen options on the HBO Max screen. You sign in to watch Peacemaker, and right next to it is Thursday at 7 p.m. The U.S. women's national team takes on France. Hey, click on the old reminder for that. It's a great deal for U.S. soccer. And I absolutely believe it is further proof that sport is continuing to grow in this country. Let's take a break, come back, wrap up hour number 2 after this on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
Thursday, sunshine of 78, and Friday, sunny high of 62. Saturday, partly sunny high of 71, and Sunday, partial sunshine high of 77. And meteorologist Jennifer Beach and ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 75.
ESPN Upstate. All bounces. We have your hookup on your radio at 97.7 FM in Greenville and 97.1 FM in Spartanburg. On your computer at ESPNUpstate.com. On your phone or tablet on the Odyssey app. On your Amazon smart speaker.
ESPN Upstate.
And on your HD radio at FBC HD3. At home, in the car, in the office. So many ways to get in the game with ESPN Upstate. All sports 24/7 from Upstate South Carolina.
The Kitchen Guy's barbecue is firing on all cylinders. He needs food runners who can hit the ground quickly.
86 on the chicken and with short staff, let's pick it up.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get where you want to go. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro. Pre-spring in South Carolina means using the AC during the day and the heater at night. When your HVAC unit stops working, you need a company you can trust. Priority Heating and Air HVAC specialists will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is a proud distributor of the Coleman line of HVAC systems. So keep your family or business comfortable and give Priority Heating and Air a call today at 591-1847 or find them online. Priority Heating and Air HVAC.com.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 10 premier upstate courses, and it's still only $99. Grab your foursome and get your Upstate Golf Card now to play courses including Rock, Greer Golf, Pebble Creek, the Club at Brookstone, Rolling Green, and more.
By the way, I don't know why we just got really quiet. There's just no reason. The stake argument's not really an argument, so it's it's not really fighting or anything. Rob's just really busy, and I don't want to disturb him.
Cordiez is putting up quotes from Spencer Rattler having a press conference right now, so I'm trying to follow along with that.
Yeah, he's been interviewing people all day, it looked like.
All the transfers.
Title Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check the information.
You're the best of our literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV.
And got Netflix for movies you watch on demand. DirecTV Stream brought us together to save the world.
Maybe not save the world, but DirecTV Stream does bring your live and on-demand favorites together.
Your favorites together.
I just said that.
She just said that.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on-demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directtv.com.
Requires high-speed internet compatible device. Content varies by package location. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1.
I keep looking at that sign outside of the building. I haven't tried that place before. Wonder if it's any good.
Which one?
You can't see the sign from here.
Maybe chicken?
No. The billboard.
Oh no, I can't see the board. Culver's.
I was trying not to say the name of the place.
There's Culver's Pensacola. I've been there. It's good.
Okay, because they had opened up right before the pandemic started.
It's no Popeyes, but it's not bad.
Popeyes is all right. It's not nearly as good as people make it out to be. People like it because it's popular.
Sometimes Lonzo say things.
KFC will always be king.
Sometimes, Lonzo, people say things because they're true, not because it's popular.
No, it's popular.
All right, here we go. The Rob Brown Show rolls on, wrapping up hour number 2. Coming up in hour number 3, Spencer Rattler was just at the platform doing a little presser, as were the rest of the trends for the Gamecocks. I'll give you some quotes from that. Clemson spring practice starts today. What are we looking for out of that? All that more coming up. This is ESPN Upstate.
Bless you. Sorry, stream. He sneezed. My bad. This got robbed to eye roll, by the way, because I do believe that some restaurants are popular because they're popular. Their food may not be as good, but because like a certain sandwich that everyone went crazy about.
Talking about Offside with Mark Ryan, 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate. And now, a message from your smart speaker.
I know you're out there, touching things again. But who was there for you? You didn't want to touch anything. when all you had to do was ask, and you got all the information you wanted from a trusted source.
Still the best way to stay in touch with upstate sports happenings.
Go ahead, touch your nasty phone. See if I care.
On air, on your smart speaker, or any smart device.
And don't give me any of that it's not UT nonsense.
This is ESPN Upstate. Morning.
And check this out.
For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real.
Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
All right, here we go, kids. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo, sitting across the glass from me, both metaphorically and literally. Glad to have you guys back with us. Thanks for hanging out. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. Follow me on Twitter. Follow Lonzo on Twitter at Lonzo on Word. And follow us all on Twitter at ESPN Upstate. All the different ways to get in touch with the broadcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, if if you missed this, I wanted to read it again because Lonzo, I don't know about you. I think the most overused expression in the world right now is LOL, right? When people send LOL via text or whatever, 93% of the time that person did not laugh out loud.
I have never used that, by the way, just because.
Lonzo doesn't like things that other people like.
Yes, it's
is what it comes down to.
It's a thing.
Yeah. Effectively, things that other people like, Lonzo just automatically dislikes.
Plus, Rob, you've known me for a couple of years now. How many times have you actually seen me laugh out loud?
Twice.
So, it would be lying. So I'm not going to do that.
Is there a movie or a comedy special or anything, Lonzo? Is there a movie or comedy that you can watch by yourself, like you're by yourself on the couch, and it makes you actually laugh out loud?
Yes. I know you're going to ask me to name it.
Sure.
But no, I laugh all the time. I'm
just like by yourself on the couch. You're like,
not only do I laugh by myself while I'm sitting alone, I will talk to the TV but that happened after radio. So, I mean, you're so used to sitting in a room with one person or two people and just talking, and you just can't help it. But yeah, I will sit there and why you don't laugh to yourself, or are you just trying to?
Not often, honestly.
Yeah.
Not often. It's very rare. Now I may like give you a little like a little chuckle, but I very, very rarely genuinely laugh out loud if I'm by myself, right? And I certainly never genuinely laugh out loud by myself when I read a news story about sports, right? Now, I've laughed about I genuinely laughed out loud when Antonio Brown freaked out during that Bucs game. That was funny.
I believe that I laughed out loud when OBJ lost that fight with the kicker's net.
Yep.
That was pretty funny.
But rarely do you get like
Martin Gramatica.
Oh, poor guy. Poor Automatica. Oh, rough.
I just don't see the butt fumble also
Fumble's good.
Made me laugh out loud.
But like all the things that we're laughing at are all things that like the incident, I can just say the name, right? I can just say Antonio Brown and you know what I'm talking about. I can just say Automatica Gramatica and you know what I'm talking about, right? Very rarely does a story come across my desk that's just words on a website that I read and I'm like, oh, come on. And that happened this morning when I found out. And you know what? You got to give them credit for having aspirations, right? You got to give them credit for the attempt. But when we found out earlier today that the Washington Commanders, who are in need of a quarterback, right? They had Alex Smith. They traded for him back in 2018 away from, hilariously enough, the Kansas City Chiefs. He showed up. He had that gory injury, kept him out of football. So they drafted Dwayne Haskins, the guy that everybody thought was going to break the streak of bad quarterbacks in the NFL coming from that school. He did not. Year and a half later, he's off the team during his second season. Who comes in to replace him? Alex Smith. Gives you a good run to the end of the year, calls it a career. And now the Washington Commanders find themselves, after having brought in Ryan Fitzmagic, who injured himself in the opener this season and was replaced by Taylor Heineke, who put up an astounding quarterback rating of 86. The Washington Commanders find themselves in dire need of a quarterback. Now, there's the old saying, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars. And it's meant to be motivational, right? Like, Rob, don't just strive to be a radio talk show host. Strive to be on ESPN and TV and calling this and doing that. And even if you don't get all the way there, you will come to a great spot along the way. And don't get me wrong, that's what happened. Here I am. By the way, Lonzo, today is the 2-year to the day anniversary of my first show sitting in this chair.
I think you just loosely quoted Richard Marx, by the way.
A little bit. Today, the 2-year anniversary of my first show sitting in this studio as a full-time host on the show.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. 2 years ago today, I sat in this exact chair for the first time.
It probably is the exact chair.
Well, I'm telling you, I know for a fact it is.
It probably is, yeah.
I know for a fact it is. All right, so anyway, enough about me. You tell me how much you love me on the text line. I aspired to end up being Chris Fowler, basically, right? And if I never get there, you know what? I got to a damn good place right here in Greenville. And I'm very happy about it. Well, aim for the moon did the Washington Commanders. Because earlier this week, the Washington Commanders decided in their search for a quarterback to make a phone call to a team that has one that is well established. The Washington Commanders reached out and asked for the availability of Patrick Mahomes. They called asking to see if they can make a trade for Patrick Mahomes. You know, the guy that was one good play away from playing for yet another Super Bowl. The Washington Commanders, ladies and gentlemen, don't have enough draft capital over the next decade to have gotten the Kansas City Chiefs to come off of Patrick Mahomes. You'd have had to offer me every pick for the next 6 years to get me off of Patrick Mahomes, right? Lonzo, I don't know how much I would pay to get the probably 12 to 18 second recorded conversation of that phone call, but I know it would be a lot.
It's out there somewhere. And, at first, Scott Veach is like, I'm being punked, right? This is a prank. There's no way. You're really this is a Ron Rivera impersonator.
Right now, Zoe, let's do a little role play. Right now, you're Ron Rivera. Open the phone call to me, the GM of the Chiefs, with the best way possible. You think you're talking Patrick Mahomes out of Kansas City to Washington, D.C. What's that phone call sound like to you?
This is going to be bad radio because I can't do it. I can't. I cannot fathom I want to believe this isn't real because, I get if you call Green Bay and you're looking and trying to go after Aaron Rodgers,
absolutely.
Which I get. You're not going to get
gotten any trade offers for Aaron
Rodgers.
Because
supposedly is available. I just think that's just a whole bunch of noise. I think he's going to be back. But the one quarterback that's the most solid anywhere is Patrick Mahomes. And I think it was a dare. I think it was a dare. I've talked to Ron Rivera personally when he was in camp, got to interview him, got to ask him my brand of questions, which he took them really well. And I think someone dared him. It's like, hey, Ron, I bet you won't.
$20 if you call and offer a trade for Patrick Mahomes.
If you heard it was a dare, would you be okay with it?
I respect Ron Rivera for doing it.
Yes, I would too. And he seems to, the small interaction that I had with him, like someone who would do something like that.
So here's the thought that I had. Right?
It's got to be a dare. There's no way you do that realistically.
It's funny on the surface. It's funny on the surface because of how ridiculous it is, right? We all know that's not happening. We all know it's not happening. And that's what makes it funny on the surface. Like Texter just said, isn't that what the Saints did for Ricky Williams? Every pick in the draft for one player. Yeah, it was pretty much, I think it was every pick except like 1 6-rounder traded for Ricky Williams, which was stupid then. And it's something I'll never forgive Mike Ditka for. But
looked pretty cool in the dread wig though. That was interesting. I get it's your team, so it probably wasn't as funny to you.
No, it wouldn't be funny for any team. That's a lot to give up for a running back, right? But that's another discussion.
If Ricky didn't like the weed so much, who knows? Maybe it would have panned out.
Ricky didn't flame out because of flaming out. Ricky flamed out because Ricky's head wasn't in the game. You're going to change marijuana to anything, and it would have been fine.
He was Riddle before Riddle.
What they never did was stick a Funyuns advertisement on the back of both end zones and tell Ricky that if he touched it, he got a bag on the sideline next quarter. Anyway, here's the part. Here's the part that I take issue with. The part I take issue with is that at a point in time where it looks like your administration, from owner down, everybody except Ron Rivera, has no clue how to run a football team. You understand how desperate and sad this comes across as, right? The optics of it are desperate and sad. Now, we've all seen the movie where the dorky, nerdy loser kid walks up to the hottest girl in the school and is like, "Can I take you out to dinner?" And based on the movie, sometimes they say no, sometimes they say yes, is a cruel joke. Either way, it never goes well, right? It never ends well. At a point in time where your fans are sitting back and going, not only are you going to make me tell people that I am a fan of the Washington Commanders, but you also don't know how to run a football team. You're going to tell me that at a point in time where we genuinely, truly need a quarterback, that's the call you made. It's just silly. It's not bad. Like I said, what if that day Patrick Mahomes had found out slept with Andy Reid's wife? You know, maybe you get lucky. Maybe you get lucky and he ticked off the wrong guy at the wrong time and they pulled the trigger, right? But no. And it makes your football team look sad and pathetic. It really does. Texter says, hey, Rob, congratulations on your 2-year anniversary at ESPN Upstate. I honestly thought you would have been fired within 4 months. You proved me wrong, and I'm kind of glad you're here, I guess. Thanks, Mom.
Affirmation is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
I mean, is that I kind of thought you were going to flame out in 4 months, but all right, you're here, I guess. Cool, congrats. I take that, Texter, with the highest of regards. Thank you. Texter says, hey, Mark Ryan, I'm going to crack your coconuts. They type, hey, Mark Ryan. I'm reading as it comes in.
Maybe they're just getting ahead because they know that Mark's, or maybe they're like in a different time zone.
48 minutes. Hang on. He'll be here soon.
Well, maybe.
Hey, Mark Ryan, I'm going to crack your coconuts. I was born in France. I didn't have a city. I'm a Steeler and Volunteer fan in football, a Cardinals fan in baseball, and a Duke fan in basketball. I don't like or watch NBA or hockey. That's just the way it is. Could you wait to read this a little before 5? Would love to hear a reaction. Love your show, Jim from Liberty. Well, Jim, you want him to read it a little bit before 5. I have read it at 2:15. You, my man, are an overachiever in life, aren't you?
It's a little before 5. And in the future, you probably we get a ton of texts, so your text will move.
It will not exist by the time they get to 5 o'clock.
I don't think Mark comes back into this show to look at text, but he might.
He might. If you want Mark to read a text at just before 5, you should send it just before 5, not 2:15. You're a little early, but I respect you trying to get boat done.
Or send a handwritten letter to Diesel.
Texas says Washington Commanders sounds like an XFL team. Yeah. Commanders sound like the Globetrotter said, the Washington Generals is a little tired. What should we name the next team we're going to beat by 90 a night?
Yeah, the XFL, while they're naming their teams, realized that name was taken off the board and they're really mad. So they had to, no, we already had that.
Do you think there's ever been a situation where the guys that play for the Washington Generals against the Harlem Globetrotters every night and lose by 60? You think there's ever been a night where it gets to like the third quarter of the fake game and they're like, let's go try to win. Like, let's go actually play basketball.
I thought for sure that I think they've won like 3 times in the history of the.
No way.
I believe. And I, you know, I'm getting older, so maybe I just made it up. I don't know.
The team's official website, apparently the Washington Generals have a website, reports that the Generals have 3 victories over the Globetrotters in 1954, 58, and 71.
Come on, man. Give me some. Come on.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo. Well done. I really kind of want to read through. There's a whole Wikipedia page on the Washington Generals, and I need you to know I take about a 20-minute to 30-minute break after the show to decompress. That's not happening today because I am about to read and know the entire history of the Washington Generals.
This is why I should come to your trivia night sometime, because I'll just clean up.
In 1971 in Martin, Tennessee, the Washington Generals ended their 2,495 game losing streak. Curly Neal did not play in that game. While the Globetrotters were entertaining the crowd that day, they lost track of the game and the score. They found themselves down 12 with 2 minutes to play, forced to play normal basketball. The Globetrotters rallied, but could not recover the lead. The Generals secured their victory when the 50-year-old Klotz hit the winning basket with seconds left. Then Meadowlark Lemon missed a shot that would have given the game back to the Globetrotters. The timekeeper tried to stop the clock, but could not. When the final buzzer sounded, the crowd was, quote, dumbfounded and disappointed. Klotz described the fans' reaction as, quote, they looked at us like we killed Santa Claus. Some children in the stands cried after the loss. The Generals celebrated by dousing themselves with orange soda instead of champagne. Curly Lemon was furious, screaming at the Globetrotters, you lost. I didn't lose, end quote, before visiting the Generals' locker room to congratulate them.
How many Generals were on the team, the following week?
So apparently at this point, like, they genuinely played basketball. And the Globetrotters just, like, did their stuff within a genuine game. I don't think they do that anymore. I haven't seen the Globetrotters in probably 6 or 7 years, but I think it's all scripted now.
Well, before COVID, we had a Globetrotter in here, and I'm trying to remember. It's been a few years, so I'm trying to remember if we actually talked to him about that. But it was pretty cool. Got to do the spinning basketball thing in here and stuff like that. So, so they have been back to town, but I don't know why I remember that they had beat them 3 times. But yeah, even if it is scripted to a degree, they have to play the game. You got to make some buckets.
You know who the most recent general manager of the Washington Generals is? Kenny Smith, the Jet. The guy from inside the NBA on TNT is the GM of the Generals. Does their player moves for him. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So it's not just they put his name up there. He actually does that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like he runs the team, I
Hey,
guess.
why not?
Interesting. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got some football to talk about. Rob Lonzo, you at ESPN Upstate.
Contacting the Harris Cherokee Center Asheville box set. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets.
The madness.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or too much?
Nailed it.
Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Hi, Gary David here, back with Travis Benson, the owner of CNT Foundations. Seeing cracks in your foundation walls or sticking doors and windows? Listen up.
Windows.
Homeowners, these problems.
Got some problems with my windows.
Professional help, not a professional salesman. At CNT Foundations, we're real, local, general contractors that provide solutions that last a lifetime.
Call 864-581-3341. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
If you're looking for a new job with great pay and benefits, Auto Kiloton is for you. For Formerly Tower International, Auto Tucson is hiring.
So Tayshaun, what I did is I know where some of the bosses are. I've only fought one of them, didn't beat them, just can't do it yet. Getting close. 2/3 of the way down. Like the first one with the first part of the ring. But like I said, I wanted to unlock the map, so I've just been traveling around. I've seen the dragons. I really don't want anything to do with them right now because it would be a mistake. And the dragons are really big. There's one that's just huge beyond belief. I've seen the giants that are just, that are just laying in the grass. And you go, that thing's not going. I saw a statue yesterday. Now every statue you see, it's like, okay, that thing's coming to life. Some of them don't, just to throw you off. And then the one that did, like, had these huge blades for arms. I'm getting really good at my horse. And when I can't use my horse, I mean, I fight on horseback all the time. But I had to sell my crossbow because I couldn't figure out how to make it work. I'm awesome with a bow, but I can't get the stupid crossbow to work. I'm guessing if I were your level, I'd be able to do that too, but I don't know because I'll probably never get that high. No. I just figured out yesterday you can double jump with the horse.
Yeah.
While in the air. And I did you may not, you can change direction. It isn't like you can get higher, but you can go, because I accidentally jumped off a cliff and jumped back. And it was like, yes. And now I'm reaching heights to where things are I couldn't get to before.
Okay, so yesterday I told you about a chart that I had found about payroll decreases, right? This is just strictly money paid to players. I'm not going to do a lot more baseball today. Probably not a lot tomorrow because we don't know when the players and the owners are going to get back together. The earliest Rob Manfred said they can get back together is tomorrow. But I just found that thing again. So, the 5 teams with the largest payroll decrease from 2019 to 2021, right? Because the argument I've heard against the players making more money has been, well, if player revenue goes up, then the cost of tickets and merch will go up because the owners want to make up that money. And that may be true. But here's the reason why it doesn't have to. Here's the reason that you can tell that the owners are the ones who have the we want more of the money mindset. The players do want more of the money, but more of the wrong side of it. According to baseballprospectus.com, who did a deep dive on the contracts available, the books that are available, right? A lot of teams don't fully make their books available, but Baseball Prospectus went through and looked at them all. From 2019 to 2021, the Texas Rangers in 2019 had a payroll of $104.4 million. In 2021, their payroll was $55.2 million. That's a drop of 47% of payroll. Seattle Mariners, 2019, payroll was $126.9 million. 2021, $64.1 million. That's a 49% decrease in payroll. Baltimore, the Orioles, 2019 payroll, $82.7 million. 2021 payroll, $42 million. That is a drop of 49 point some change percent in payroll. Miami Marlins, Derek Jeter just quit the team. Said the vision of the team's future is not what I signed up for. Here's a good reason why, Alonzo. In 2019, their payroll was $74.7 million. In 2021, their payroll was $32 million. That is a decrease in payroll of 57%. But they are not even top of the league. The top of the league is the Cleveland Guardians. In 2019, Lonzo, their payroll was $151.3 million.
It took me a moment. I'm like, why are you talking soccer now? And then, yeah, okay. So you're used to that? I'm still not. No.
Used to it? No, but only because I called them that other name for so many years. But I got to tell you, I like Guardians more than Commanders, if I'm being honest. It's not my favorite, but
Yeah.
could have been way worse. Cleveland Guardians, 2019 payroll, $151.3 million. 2021 payroll, $49.1 million. That is a 68% drop in payroll paid to players in 2 years. Now, these are teams slashing their payroll. And so if you're going to make the argument, if baseball is going to make the argument that payroll has such an incredibly powerful impact on fan prices, right? Oh, we got to pay the players more. That means it's going to cost us more. You're not showing it. These teams all slashed payroll. 5 of them. These are the top 5 biggest slashes in the league. Lonzo, of those 5, one team had their average ticket price decrease. 1. Seattle's average ticket price dropped from $37.77. I'm sorry, 2 dropped. $37.77 after cutting the payroll in Seattle by 50%, Lonzo. The ticket price went from $37.77 to $35.22. Now, I'm not good at math, but that is an average ticket price drop of roughly $2.50. $2.50. In Baltimore, the season ticket prices, according to Baseball Prospectus, Lonzo, in Baltimore, where they slashed their payroll by 50%, their average ticket price fell 43 cents from 2019 to 2021. So if you have gone with the, sharing the profits, sharing the losses, fans aren't doing that, right? We are paying into this system when they are slashing payroll at the same amount. If you are a fan of the Cleveland Guardians, of which there's a lot, it's a historic franchise. In 2 years, they slashed their payroll by over 2/3. Lonzo, if you and I came into the radio station today and our boss said, hey, payroll just got cut by 68%, but you have to still do the same amount of work, I don't think we'd be super happy campers that day. We'd be pretty upset.
Product probably would go down a bit.
Sure. Product would go down. Employee morale would go down.
Employees would no longer be here, probably.
A lot would walk. Cleveland did, and yet left their ticket prices the same. So don't give me this bunk that, well, if you pay the players more, the fans are going to have it. They already are. They already are. If I told you that a team raised its payroll from $49.1 million to $151.3 million, and then I told you, Lonzo, that the ticket price would stay the same, you'd go, that's incredible. That's unbelievable. But if I told you they raised it from 49.1 to 151.3 and ticket prices were going to go up, you'd go, that's understandable. There's more stars. There's going to be a better product. We're going to get better baseball. Of course, ticket prices are going to go up. Except they didn't. It's the opposite. It went down over 2/3, and ticket prices. Oh, by the way, outside of Seattle and Baltimore, Texas, who slashed their payroll by 47%, Miami, who slashed their who slashed their payroll from 74.7 to 32, a 57-point decrease, and Cleveland, who dropped their payroll by over 2/3. All three of those teams, Lonzo, average ticket prices were raised during that 2-year period. They are charging you more while paying out 2/3 less to the players you're going to see.
Do you factor in inflation into this, though?
Even if you did, these numbers don't add up, right? Like let's factor in 2 years of inflation, right? 2 years. Now, if you said ticket prices from like 1991 to 2021, I'd go, yeah, of course they're more expensive. That's how monies work. But 2 years of inflation does not justify a 68% payroll decrease and an increased ticket price. You have to pay more money to see fewer stars and a lesser quality of baseball. So don't give me this, well, the owners are going to have to charge more if the players get paid more. They already are. You are already doing that if you are going to baseball games. I try to get to a couple Atlanta games a year. I'm already paying more when the owners are trying to pay less to the players. I got news for the owners. I don't come here to see you. I don't come here. There's a few stadiums that I bought tickets to just to see the stadium. I went to Fenway last year. I didn't go to Fenway to see the Yankees and the Red Sox. I went to Fenway to see Fenway, and I've done it once. Atlanta's got a beautiful stadium. The Battery is a fantastic baseball venue. I'm not going to the Battery for the Battery. I go to the Braves games to watch the Braves play. You want to pay them this much less and then jack my ticket price up every single year. I just got questions about it. All right, a couple of texts that have come in. Texture says, Rob, so you think MLB owners don't want to show profit margins? Is that the MLB not making the money they want us to believe it is? No, they are making money. They are making money. They've shown the MLB's numbers are available. Individual teams aren't, but MLB's numbers are available. And outside of the COVID year, MLB's revenue is up dramatically. The Braves worked at an over $130 million revenue in an individual quarter last year. They are making money. This narrative that owning a baseball team is not a lucrative solution is wrong. It's a lie. I would have far less animosity towards the owners and Rob Manfred if they weren't, lying about so much of it. That's where you lose me. People don't buy baseball teams to make money. The hell they don't. The hell they don't. Texture says, Rob, due to PEDs and foreign substance use, I'm firmly on the defund the players movement. If we can demonize all police for the actions of a few, I say we apply this to MLB players and defund them. You social justice baby. I only read that text because he called me a social justice baby. It's like a South Park reference. I like it.
I think he's reaching today.
PC babies. Yeah, no, he is.
It's kind of an off day.
Oh, yeah.
It happens to all
It's
of
a
us.
stretch. But again, he called me a social justice baby. And I love it. And I love it. How dare the workers have rights to the profits that baseball are definitely making on their backs? What an awful, awful, awful idea. Come on, man. Come on. Let's take a break, come back, one more short segment, and then Twitter to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Cardinals announced they
signed head coach Cliff Kingsbury and GM Steve Keim to new contract extensions through the 2027 season, with both men receiving extensions. The focus is now on quarterback Kyler Murray, who through his agent made a very public request this week for an extension of his own. The Giants releasing tight end Kyle Rudolph, saving $5 million in cap space. The 32-year-old told ESPN's Adam Schefter he intends to keep playing and is not retiring. NBA, James Harden will make his 76ers home debut tonight versus the Knicks, 7 Eastern on ESPN TV. That's followed by the Suns and Blazers in the second part of our Wednesday doubleheader. Phoenix All-Star Devin Booker won't play.
You're playing a samurai, right?
Celtics star Jalen Brown missed today's practice.
Rough. In and out. Hit everywhere but the bottom. Oh, twice in a row. Woof. That thing was 90% in the can and came back out. Now you just missed.
Yeah, I'm just worried.
Overthinking it. You changed your form. There it is.
Of course, that was just done to make me look bad.
Get in on it, Keegan. Join it. I'm going to be playing, probably not tonight, but I might play tonight a little bit. I might run around a little tonight. I got a bunch of work to do at the house, but I can't work forever.
Wednesdays are usually family night, but after family night, I'll probably be on there for a little while.
Keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Granger, work hard and do this, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call clickgranger.com or just stop on. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phone, chat, workspaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all your communications. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with the Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. If you love the sports like me, you get annoyed with your team or player. So Progressive's going to help take your mind off your team or that player for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they lost that thing recently, think about Progressive letting you compare our direct rates side by side with competitors to easily find the lowest option. Don't worry, your sports ball team or player will get it next time. Hope this distraction from Progressive about easily comparing rates was helpful to not think about that last game or match or season. I mean, even though I love
So this won't translate to the air, but Bass Pro Shop is trending because many are comparing NASCAR driver Tony Stewart's
I saw the
home
pictures.
to a Bass Pro Shop.
It is ridiculous.
Wow.
Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to
The way the rafters are, and yeah, I definitely see it.
He's got a pond in his living room.
What do you do? I mean, do you just sit there and reflect, or is it just
I gotta tell you, I wish I was rich because that's what my house would look like.
I mean, or you just do that to be able to talk about it when people come to visit? I mean,
Don't know.
If you have a bowling alley in your house, there's a reason
You're doing all right.
you're going to bowl.
You're doing all
That's
right,
what I'm
yeah.
saying. You're going to bowl. If you have a tennis court, you're going to play tennis. If you have a dance floor, you're going to dance. What do you do with that?
I saw
Just walk and just stand there and lean against the bridge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I saw a video a number of years ago of a house that somebody had built in the Rocky Mountains that they built over a river, like a river, and you could open a sliding glass piece and expose the river, and you could fish in it from your living room.
Now that's
it was cool.
That's very cool.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. 844-GSP-ESPN. 844-477-3776. Texas 71307 on the Preferred Home Services text line. Clemson spring football starting up today. We're going to have a report on practice number 1 tomorrow. I've got some folks there that are covering that we're going to talk to tonight, trying to line up an interview for tomorrow, but obviously with practices starting, it's a little wonky as far as schedules and whatnot. So I'll let you know if and when we can make that happen. But hopefully we'll have somebody that was there at spring practice day number 1 to chat with us tomorrow, just about how it starts. We won't do it every single day, every single practice, but I'm curious. Also,
we're not going to ask anything about the quarterback situation.
No, why would we?
Because that's solidified, right?
Something interesting going on there?
Not that I'm aware of.
I didn't think so. We'll see. And Corey Dias from the Greenville News is going to join us tomorrow as well. He sat down with Spencer Rattler and the other transfers into South Carolina. We'll talk to him tomorrow about those. I find the transfer pressers interesting, right? Like to get the opinions of the guys who just showed up on campus. Spencer Rattler.
Transfer? Is this a new thing? Transfer conference? I mean, I don't recall ever hearing of one of those before. I seriously don't recall ever hearing of that before.
I mean, I'm sure it's been done, but
so there's enough transfers that it requires.
Yeah, there's 7 of them.
So where we live in, I get that,
7
but
of them?
I think this is the first one that I've ever heard of.
So they talked to Spencer Rattler and they asked him a couple of questions. First off, there was a clip, if you missed it, Rattler was featured as a high school player in a documentary, and he came off as kind of a major jackass. And he was like, dude, look, A, it's a reality show. They didn't really portray what was going on. And B, that was 5 years ago. I've grown from that. I'm a different guy now. They asked him why South Carolina. And he said, I wanted to go somewhere that they genuinely love their university. And I got that impression in Columbia. And that's why I decided to come here. So we'll talk to Corey tomorrow, see what the rest of those quotes were like. Of course, tomorrow being Thursday, we've got Rashad Beard joining us at 1:00 to talk Panthers. We got Fight Club with Lonzo coming up at 2:20, so make sure you set that clock. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Twitter trending topics wraps it all next on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Mostly sunny this afternoon, high of 75. Tonight, mostly clear, low 44. Thursday, sunshine, high of 78. And Friday, sunny, high of 62. Saturday, partly sunny, high of 71. And Sunday, partial sunshine, high of 77. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wuczynski on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 77.
ESPN Upstate.
I'll give you a tip, Keegan. Run and don't die.
I forgot Faces and Heels. You got off the hook again. Lonzo could have reminded me, and he didn't want to.
I legitimately forgot also. Whether I like a segment or not, I try to help the host out, and I just completely forgot. Because of riveting conversation about something else. I don't remember what it was, but, guess we don't do it this week, It's like all that audio you pulled and we played like one cut. I mean, sometimes you just don't get the stuff.
Like today. Okay. So there have been some interesting movies about the development of different products and ideas and whatnot. Like the movie about the start of McDonald's and Roy Crocker was really interesting. Jerry Seinfeld's Unfrosted, a film about the invention of the Pop-Tart, which he will direct and star in, is moving forward at Netflix. I don't think I need a movie about the creation of the Pop-Tart?
I know I could research it and find out about all that, but I'd rather watch the movie because the fact that Jerry Seinfeld believes that it's an important movie to make, and he was so influential on pop culture for a very long time, I'm sure it's going to be a quality film. Very informative also. And Pop-Tarts, Rob, I don't know if you knew this, are awesome.
Oh, I'm a big Pop-Tart fan.
Do they have to be cold or heated?
Either way.
Do you have a preference? Okay, I was just curious.
Well, that's not sure. Depends on the Pop-Tart. Like I'm a big cherry Pop-Tart guy. That's got to be microwave.
Yeah, if those are heated though, you're danger.
Yeah, you got to do it the right way. Brown sugarman. I can eat those cold. The chocolate Pop-Tarts, I can eat those cold.
Come on, Darth. You know you love Pop-Tarts. How could you not?
I used to live on Pop-Tarts.
So did I. And then I weighed nearly 400 pounds and realized I shouldn't live on Pop-Tarts. But, you know, as we saw yesterday with the king cake, if I ate a Pop-Tart now, I don't know what would happen to me. Well done, Darth, but I wonder if that's really a thing. Rob, is that really a thing?
Hang on. Beer flavored? I don't know.
I don't think you got the joke, but
brown
it was
sugar. Oh, Hop Tarts.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Brown sugar with peanut butter on them. I'm intrigued, Keegan.
I'm good with that.
I'm intrigued.
Well, we ate Pop-Tarts with cheese on them one time because it was a fad. And it was we used nacho cheese.
Of all the things that you have said, oh, I'm not going to do that because it's a fad. And that's the one you decided to jump on?
Taste testing is totally different. A lot of times you do it to prove it's stupid. And really, I was just trying to make other people throw up. So, I mean, you know. I'm weird. I'm not consistent with that stuff. There's some things that's popular that I'm into, like Elden Ring. Video games is different. If a video game is popular, unless it's Fortnite, it's probably pretty good. Fortnite sucks, but just because it's pointless. You can't win. I hate a game where you just can't win. Oh, you can win a match, but you can't win. You can't beat the game.
Oh.
So you're just constantly fighting.
Sometimes the journey
even with
is
the war games that you play, you're kind of fighting in a war. So I mean, there's that. Welcome to Twitter Trending Topics, which interrupts our conversation on the Facebook feed. If you missed it, you know, you can go back and watch it, or you can come back tomorrow where we'll be live on Facebook and YouTube and other places every single day, and you can enjoy the conversations that we have off the air, which sometimes gets me that look. And I just got it, and I love that look. All right, the first thing that's trending is Tony Khan.
I don't know if this is why. Tony Khan has been obviously talking a lot because we're working our way towards another AEW pay-per-view. And earlier today, there was a bunch of dirt sheets dropping some stuff that Khan said this and Khan said that. And it's turning out like a lot of them are just flat out untrue. But I don't know if that's why he's trending.
All right, he is trending because AEW has a big announcement tonight.
They have a big announcement every Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, you know, but
and here's the thing: how many of those announcements have fallen flat? Couple of them.
Keith Lee wasn't the announcement on the one day where the big one was. It was the dude from Bullet Club, and I forget it's Jay White.
Jay Lethal.
No, it's Jay White.
Jay White. That's right. Jay Lethal's a different dude.
Yeah, Jay Lethal. Yeah,
he's already there. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah,
he's Black Machismo.
Yeah.
Which he does a killer Macho Man thing, and he was that character for a while. No, so there's speculation on who it's going to be tonight, and I'm going Bray Wyatt.
Brock Lesnar. I'm just kidding. Bray's going to show up eventually. I don't doubt that.
There's also Johnny Gargano as a possibility. There's some other possibilities.
So I don't think it's going to be Gargano. Gargano went off the other day on this big thing about why he's chosen free agency, and he's like, look, I got a wife and a brand new daughter, like a wife who just gave birth and a brand new daughter, and I want to be able to pick and choose my spots to work, and being an independent wrestler lets me do that. So I doubt it's going to be Johnny Gargano, but if there is a company that is going to let him come and go around his wife and his kid, it'd be AEW.
And he would fit with all the small guys that are there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not a crack. There's
No,
just there's a
true.
ton of small
Yeah.
guys there. There absolutely are. All right, the next thing that's trending, and I kind of want to save this for tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to, well, let me go with the other one first. John Bon Jovi's trending.
Who's coming here in a couple of weeks, by the way. Please tell me he didn't just die.
No, it's his birthday, actually.
Okay, that's much better.
Yes.
That's much
How
better.
old do you think he is?
65.
Wow, he's not going to want you to come to the con. He's only 60, but still, yeah.
It's not insulting. I was like 78.
I'm guessing the level of dropping off between 60 and 65 is pretty big.
We'll see. I've had so he's coming to the well in a couple of weeks. I'm 100% going. The lady friend has seen Bon Jovi already, and she said it's not the same show it was in the 90s. Like, yeah, obviously it's not.
Because he has shorter hair.
Right. And he's put out some terrible songs since Shot Through the Heart and You're to Blame and Bad Medicine.
Well, some would say Richie Sambora is the reason why that band was.
Richie Sambora is incredible.
Yes, some would say that. I would be
Still
one of
incredible.
those people.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Bon Jovi was never about John Bon Jovi. Like, it wasn't John Bon Jovi is a megastar. that
Did
carries his
use
band.
well? You use his name.
Which is a good
so,
band.
Yeah, there's that. All right, there's one more, and it's. I'm just going to say it's Greg Hardy, but you know what? We're not going to talk.
Is he going? You wait us segment. You're going to make me wait 24 hours.
I'm the king, the alpha and the omega of teasing.
Clip it, quote it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Diesel and Mark Ryan are up next for Offsides. For Lonzo, I'm Rob. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow to try harder and do it all over again right here on the Rob Brown Show. And ESPN Upstate later, brother.
So when we go in the office, you should look it up. But I want to see your reaction because you're gonna love this.
He's fighting Jay Paul.
No, I mean that would be awesome. But no, that's he is he's quoted a couple people who he would like to fight after this weekend. If you don't see it, I'll show it to you.
Greg Hardy's a bum.
This is SportsCenter.
Bye. Yeah.
I'm Christine
Greg
Lisi.
Hardy's
Suns leading
a
scorer Devin
bum.
Booker in health and safety.